presents Southeastern Conference Football 2001. A look at the LSU Bengal Tigers.
LSU's Saban Grace had the Tigers back in the postseason in 2000. Now they're looking to go from worst to first in just 2 years. The talent pool in Baton Rouge runs deep this season, especially on defense, where the Tigers could be among the SEC's best. Josh is out and Rowe is in, but can last season's hero last for the long haul? And just who are these guys? The Tigers coaching staff has had a major overhaul, but it doesn't mean major changes. Those stories and much more as we break down the LSU Tigers for 2001 next on College Sports Southeast.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome into another special edition of SEC Football 2001. And for the next 30 minutes, we'll be breaking down the LSU Tigers. Nick Saban entering his second season in Baton Rouge after getting the Tigers back to their winning ways last year. LSU fans are expecting more of the same coming up this fall. LSU finished the 2000 season winning 5 of their last 6 games, including a Peach Bowl win over Georgia Tech in the Georgia Dome. And now LSU may be looking at a return trip to Atlanta this season as the champions of the SEC West. And why shouldn't LSU be confident? Here's a team that returns 17 starters from last year's team, including 10 on defense. The 8 wins from last season were more than the previous 2 years combined. And they finally broke the road jinx, winning their first conference game away from Tiger Stadium since 1998. Hey, but all of that success comes with a price tag. Now they're expected to improve on what they accomplished, which won't be easy because now not only are the fans watching out for the Tigers, but the rest of the SEC is watching out for them as well. Much like South Carolina, LSU won't be able to catch anyone by surprise this season, which is fine with them. They haven't been the team to beat for a long time now, and they kind of like how it feels.
You know, last year we were just trying to prove something, you know, because we hadn't had success. And, you know, this year we have to have an attitude of a higher standard of excellence, more of a dominant type of feeling about what we're trying to accomplish, because we're not going to sneak up on anybody this next year.
Last spring, you know, there were people that didn't even pencil us in as a game to look forward to. Now, you know, it's pretty much vice versa, where you got guys or teams circling us on their calendar.
And no doubt Nick Saban's Tigers got a lot more accomplished this past spring than they did a year ago. That's because there was really nothing new to learn. Last year they were having to install a new offense and defense, but now they know the system, which meant for the most part everybody was in the right place at the right time. And that saves time, which you never have enough of in the spring anyway. And a smooth spring just means that come August, the Tigers should be able to hit the ground running.
We're trying to just fine-tune things we learned last year instead of trying to learn a whole package, a whole new system. Now we're focusing more on the things that the little pieces of the defense and the offense that make plays and you know, get your interceptions and turnovers and touchdowns. And so I think it's becoming more fun.
You know, it's been real high intensity. Everybody's been working out. You know, when we're in the weight room, all the workouts have been going, you know, real great. Then it was just to finally get out there on that field, and everybody has this positive attitude. Everybody knows what they have to do, and you know, we're just out there really getting some work done.
Well, it's pick your poison if you're a defensive coordinator. What do you do to slow down LSU's offense that has shown the ability to burn you in pretty much every area, including the running game, which hasn't reached its full potential yet, mainly because the Tiger tailbacks are still maturing. Last season, LeBrandon Tofield was named freshman All-SEC after piling up 682 yards, which was tops among SEC rookies, and scoring 5 touchdowns. And that was after missing a couple of games with a sprained knee. Tofield was most impressive in LSU's wins over Tennessee and Mississippi State when he went over 100 yards both times. This season, Tofield should get some competition and help, too, from sophomore Devery Henderson and redshirt freshman Darren Parkett. Well, no joshing around. He could be one of the best, if not the best, receiver in the SEC. Josh Reed lit up just about every defense he faced in 2000 as he put together one of the best seasons ever for an LSU receiver. How about these numbers? 65 catches for 1,127 yards and 10 touchdowns. His yardage and touchdown totals both ranked second in LSU school history. The 65 catches, third best all time. He led the conference in receiving with over 102 yards per game, and he tied an LSU record with 6 100-yard games. Hey, not too bad for a guy who was a backup running back the year before.
Do you feel any pressure for an encore?
No, I'm just stick to the basics, just do the same things that got me, you know, the success that I had last year. But you know, I think the thing that made that even more special is the fact that we had a winning season. You know, we had a great season. We were able to win a whole lot of games, especially in the fourth quarter. And you know, all that, you know, doing all that, it wouldn't mean anything if we hadn't had the season that we did.
Now, Josh Reed certainly isn't the only automatic weapon in LSU's arsenal, but with his phenomenal season in 2000, fellow receivers Jarrell Myers and Reggie Robinson saw a lot fewer passes coming their way, especially Myers, who had over 850 yards as a freshman in 1999, but finished up with less than 350 last season. Senior Reggie Robinson had his best season at LSU in 2000, 31 catches for 391 yards and 2 scores. But their coaches and teammates haven't forgotten about them because either one can still break the big play anytime they get the football.
You know, we have some good skilled players. You know, Josh Reed, Reggie Robinson, Tofield's had an outstanding spring. You know, good tight ends. Robert Royal had an outstanding year last year, has big playability at that position. So we have some skill guys. Hopefully we can keep them healthy and get them the ball and keep them all happy by getting them the ball enough.
Another name you may want to remember is Jack Hunt, who played in all 12 games as a freshman last season. This guy's got great hands, looked very sharp during the spring. Maybe big things to come from this guy in the future. And it'll be up to Rohan Davey to spread the football around to all those guys. The Tigers' former #1 quarterback, then turned backup, is now #1 again after the departure, of course, of Josh Booty. But after 2 up-and-down seasons, is Roe ready to live up to that title?
He's had his chance and even second chances, but now Rohan Davey is down to his last chance to prove he is LSU's top quarterback.
You know, it's definitely a new outlook for me to, you know, be the quarterback and don't have any doubts or, you know, not having to battle some guy for it. It was definitely a new situation to be in, but a situation that I've been working hard for since I've been here, and a situation that I'm happy to have.
I think he's taken a little bit different approach to how important what he does affects everybody else, and his leadership qualities. Although he's always been a great natural leader, I think his day-to-day leadership and example setting is improving, which is having a positive effect on the whole unit.
Davey learned a lot about heart and determination last season, battling an ankle injury almost the entire year. But his greatest lesson came in the off-season, overcoming major knee surgery to get back to the field and back in the game.
The biggest part about me getting hurt last year was just finding that little something inside of me to keep pushing me, even though the days I didn't want to do rehab, or I thought rehab was too hard, or, you know, just didn't want to go through it. Just finding something extra inside of me to push me through, and I think that really helps me.
He worked really hard in the offseason to make sure that, you know, when his chance comes around, that he's going to make the most of it.
Something Davey has always done in the past. Last season, he came off the bench to lead the Tigers to huge wins over Tennessee and Georgia Tech. But now the job will be his from start to finish.
He was always under a really adverse circumstance, you know, and he responded extremely well and played great in every one of those situations. I think the biggest challenge for him is, can I play with consistency? He's never had the opportunity to do that since we've been here, largely because of injuries.
I have to, like, just refocus and have different goals now, you know, as far as showing that I could play 12 games or 13 games or however many games we could play, showing that I could lead the team.
Leading the Tigers to where they expect to go, though, will be no easy task. LSU fans think this team will still be playing come January, and Davey likes their way of thinking.
Really, the expectation that everyone has for us, we have expectation 10 times for ourselves as far as a team. I mean, you can't reach high goals if you don't set high goals, and our goals are pretty high.
Well, Davey will have to be durable this season because there's nothing but rookies behind him on the depth chart. Redshirt freshman Marcus Randall looks like the top backup, and other possibilities are redshirt freshman Matt Mock and true freshman Rick Clausen, brother of Tennessee quarterback Casey Clausen. all just a tad wet behind the ears. And when we return, our inside look at the LSU Tigers, new faces in new places. The Tigers coaching staff has a much different look this season, and we'll tell you all about it next. You're watching College Sports Southeast.
I'm Andy Jacob. Afraid that you're paying so much interest on your bad credit loan that you'll be in debt forever? Then call me right now for The Promise, Loan Giant's new Rate Buster program that promises homeowners payments at 8.5% or less. You heard right. We promise that your payments will be 8.5% or less even if your credit's bad by calling the number on your screen.
Call 800-305-9533.
You make it fun, you make it good, you make it one big neighborhood, you make it all just go together. Dr. Pepper, you make the world taste better. Dr. Pepper makes the world taste better. You make the world taste better. Let's go. Dr. Pepper, you make the world taste better. Pepper makes the world taste better.
In competition, injuries happen. It's part of the game. And to get back your level of performance takes a lot of hard work, discipline, and the best health care. Health South is the nation's leading provider of outpatient diagnostic, surgery, and rehabilitation services. So we can help you get back fast to the action, the competition, and the glory. We know your body. We understand your spirit. We get you back.
There was a time when a handshake was more than a gesture. When a hard day's work was a hard day's work. And folks took their time to do things the right way. Around here, we didn't forget. Gold-Kissed Farms chicken. Nothing's fresher than getting it from a farmer.
Robert Royal was a royal pain for opponents last season. LSU's tight end only caught 22 passes, but 5 of them were touchdowns. And he averaged better than 15 yards a catch in the process. At 6'5", 230 pounds, he makes a pretty good blocker on the running plays, too. Royal even tried his hand at basketball last season, playing 5 games for John Brady's Tigers, but he decided football was his future. I think he was definitely right. Royal should be in good company across the offensive line. LSU returns 3 of its 5 starters from last season, including tackle Rodney Reed, who has NFL written all over him. But the Tigers hope that's not for a while since he's only a sophomore. Reed was first-team All-SEC and All-America last season after starting 7 games at left guard and left tackle. The other tackle spot will likely belong to junior Brad Smalling, a 6'7", 300-pounder who started 5 games at that spot in 2000. They'll be joined by senior guard Dwayne Pierce, who may be the best blocker on the team, and junior Rob Sale, who is making the move from guard to center, replacing the departed Lewis Williams.
Rob Sale has, looked like the guy that's made the best transition and has the most ability to play it. Lewis was a fine player for us last year, and I think Rob Sale can do the job for us. We have to do some, patchwork in some other areas of the offensive line, and I think that's going to be the real key to our success early on, is how some of these young players develop and grow and add some continuity and depth to that position.
Well, nothing can break a football team's momentum quite like turnovers, but in the case of LSU, I'm talking about not fumbles and interceptions, but more about the turnover in the coaching ranks. Last spring, the players got to know an entire new staff under Nick Saban, but just 1 year later, spring practice had to become yet another meet and greet session once again.
Nick Saban has got plenty of reasons to clap these days, with over 75% of his starting unit back from last season, which is a lot more than he can say about his assistant coaches. Since January, Saban has had to add 4 new members to his staff.
It's just a matter of getting to learn how to work with new people. And, I have experience with that because my first year, our whole staff left, and then we had to learn to work with new coaches then, and that transition went well, and I expect the same for this one.
The transition is going very smoothly, and I'm just really, really pleased and delighted to have the guys that we have, and I actually feel like it's going to give us an opportunity to get better because we have some real quality, experienced guys.
including defensive coordinator Gary Gibbs, who came over from Georgia, secondary coach Charlie Harbison from Alabama, offensive line coach George Yarno, who spent last season at Arizona State, and linebackers coach Will Muschamp, who was defensive coordinator at Valdosta State. A lot of different backgrounds and philosophies, but in many ways, it's a good thing.
This game of football is about change, and however you deal with changes, how well you come out on top. And, you know, anytime you have a change, you see different things, and they bring a lot of different things to the table.
I really think that the coaches that we brought in have done a fantastic job of blending in with the staff that we have, bringing new enthusiasm and new ideas.
But they're also adjusting to the Saban system, so they can't be afraid to ask questions, even if it means turning to one of their own players.
Sometimes they ask me, did I make the right call? Did things go right? I tell them, yeah, you did a good job. But it's funny out there to see coaches having to ask players questions because they're learning just as we're learning.
As well as learning about each other. It's going to take a lot of work, but the Tigers have already seen that hard work does pay off.
I definitely miss Coach Sal and Coach Mason, but you know, I like Coach Gibbs and Coach Muschamp now, and I've been enjoying working with them. And I mean, hopefully they'll help us to become an even better team.
Now, Nick Saban was able to hold on to offensive coordinator Jimbo Fisher, who in just one season turned LSU's fortunes around, something Fisher also did at Cincinnati and Auburn in the 1990s. Most of his success comes from tutoring the quarterbacks, a position he played under Terry Bowden at Samford, where he set 13 school records in just his senior year. Rohan Davey would like to do the same thing in his final go-around, and if it's possible, Davey says Fisher will make it happen.
Just from working with Coach Fisher for a year, I've learned a tremendous amount of just football savvy from him, just football instincts. It's like every day is something new with him, and he always challenges me because, you know, he wants to get the best out of me. And I mean, I wish I would have had, you know, him to work under for my entire career here at LSU. I definitely think I'd be a better quarterback than I am today.
Now, Fisher and company have done a nice job working with LSU's talent, but stay tuned because more is on the way. And the coaches can pat themselves on the back for that because they went out and inked maybe the best signing class in school history. Most of the experts rank LSU's 2001 class as one of the top 5 in the country. Of course, looking good on paper and looking good on the field are two different things, but still with the likes of wide receiver Michael Clayton and this guy, tight end Marcus Spears, both All-Americans from right there inside Baton Rouge, LSU can't help but get better when this group arrives.
We're not really counting on anybody to come in and start, but we definitely need to develop more depth. And I mean, if they're better than somebody who's currently a starter right now, then they'll definitely have that opportunity to come in and start or contribute and get playing time.
The challenge for me is more when we get these young guys who can play, who can help us, to try to get them adapted and let them learn as quickly as possible so they can be assets as they are. You know, we have guys who are All-Americans, and you know, so you want them to come in and learn the mental aspect because we all know physically they can accomplish anything they want to.
We need to burn a timeout here, but when we return, we're talking defense. Trev Falk plus Brady James equals trouble for the rest of the SEC. We hear from LSU's talented linebackers and more in just 2 minutes.
Now glide your way to rock-hard abs with GlideMaster XL, the fast, easy way to sculpt all your abdominals. Watch, place the GlideMaster close to your knees, then simply glide out back and forth in front of you. Firm and flatten upper abs, tone and tighten lower abs, or glide from side to side to work and define those hard-to-reach love handles. GlideMaster's assisted dual resistance provides constant toning with every movement. Watch, sit-ups may work the wrong muscle groups, causing stress on your neck and back. But GlideMaster XL actually strengthens your back, shoulders, arms, and chest muscles for a whole upper body workout. Now you can order the amazing GlideMaster XL with exercise guide for only $19.99. We guarantee that you'll see amazing results in just 30 days, so glide those abs into shape with GlideMaster XL.
Call 800-535-6256 to receive your GlideMaster for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling, or visit us online at 800buyitnow.com.
Here at Cooper Tires Test Track, they're developing some pretty impressive tires.
Okay, next call.
Record time, Mr. Palmer.
Cooper Tires. Drive on.
My name is Joseph Artenin, and this is my bag.
Clear the track, please.
Scooter, this is my bag. Hey, this is my bag. This is my bag. When I race, that's all you're gonna see.
Singular proudly sponsors Special Olympics. With your $20 donation, you get this exclusive plan plus an internet-ready phone. Singular Wireless, what do you have to say?
Just how good can Brady James and Trev Falk be? We may not know for some time because both are only juniors and they've only gotten better every year. But it would be hard to imagine Falk being any better than he was last season when he posted 113 tackles, the most for an LSU player in 15 years. But Brady James wasn't far behind with 110 tackles of his own, including a team-leading 5 sacks. Needless to say, not many running backs can say they've gotten past these two. With their stats so close, you'd think they were in competition together, but instead, James and Falk only make each other better.
We came in together and we played in Coach Tepper's scheme together right next to each other, and we played in this scheme last year. I don't know, it's just kind of one of those weird things that you really can't explain. I mean, I really can't explain the type of chemistry that we have and the reason that we're able to play so well together.
You know, anytime you got a good player beside you, you know, he pushes you, and, you know, you guys, it's like you push each other to another level. And knowing that, look, he might beat me to the ball, hey, I need to get on my hump and, you know, try to get there too. Defense is about getting to the ball, and, you know, the first one there usually gets the reward.
If those big guys up front don't do their jobs, though, it makes life a lot harder for those linebackers. The defensive line keeps the big offensive linemen busy so James and Falk can make all the tackles. And it'll be the same group doing the dirty work again this season. Defensive tackles Muskegon Barnes and Chad Lavallee will hold down the middle. Barnes had 44 tackles last season, while Lavallee started the final 4 games of the year, finishing with 22 stops. On the ends, it'll be junior Kendrick Allen and senior Jarvis Green. At one time, a defensive star, Green's numbers were really down last season while he battled with injury problems, but their teammates think this unit will be back to form this fall.
You know, Jarvis Green wasn't really himself last year, I'm talking about off the field, so he had some things to work out, but things are going really good right now. Kendrick Allen's out there playing harder than he's ever played, and, you know, Jarvis did a really good job, and I think we're going to be nice up front. And, as long as they get some pressure, you know, we're going to make plays in the secondary, especially in the linebacking core.
That's helped us a lot, also taking a lot of the pressure of trying to have to make every single play off of us. So we're just focusing on everybody improving in the linebacking core, secondary and defensive line, and just continuing to come together.
And those defensive backs are always going to be the coach's favorites. That's because the secondary is Nick Saban's specialty, of course, and where he spends most of his time coaching. He may not be spending enough time, though, because last year's group only came up with 9 interceptions, 2 of those belonging to cornerback Fred Booker, who has graduated. The Tigers spent the spring trying to find a replacement for Booker, and it may come down between sophomore Aaron Damon and junior Damian James. Senior Robert Davis will hold down the fort at the opposite corner. Now, their help will come from safeties Ryan Clark and Lionel Thomas. Clark had 99 tackles at the strong safety spot last season, while Thomas registered 71 tackles. These guys have played together for a while, and it's time for that chemistry to start paying off.
I made a joke in the huddle the first day of play. I was like, God, y'all look familiar. You know, just the whole scene looked familiar. The same faces, the same people. And it's funny because we lost one starter in Fred Booker, and the guy that's playing first corner right now is wearing number 1. So it's like all the same numbers, you know. So we joke about it. But a lot of games last year, the offense carried us. You know, the Tennessee game scored a lot of points. The Mississippi State game scored a lot of points, and we were able to make the play. And this year, we want to have some shutout and some games to prove that the reason we feel we're one of the best defenses in the nation.
If you happen to see number 31 breaking up a pass this fall, you won't have to check your program. I'll tell you right now, it is Dominic Davis. The former running back spent some time in the secondary during spring drills, but he's not spending all of his time there. Nick Saban is going to keep the junior quite busy coming up this season.
I think he can have a role for us on both sides of the ball. you know, kind of as a specialty back for us, a return man, and a defensive guy that can contribute at least in nickel-dime situations immediately. So he's probably going to be a guy that continues in both roles as long as he feels like he can handle it.
When we come back on our inside look at the LSU Tigers, we take a peek at the 2001 schedule, so don't go away.
My daughter Erin is away from home in college. I can rest assured at any time she needs medical attention, she's got a Blue Cross card and she's going to be taken care of. Here's my little girl, got on her little cheerleading outfit.
Oh my goodness.
With her Blue Cross card, she hasn't had any problem at all. With Blue Cross Blue Shield, there is a feeling of assurance that you're gonna be taken care of, so you don't worry about it.
Exactly.
It's a great time at Ole Miss as we prepare for the 2001 football season. Our team is working hard, and we need our faithful fans to make a commitment aboard the Rebel Express. Purchase your season tickets today by calling the Ole Miss ticket office at 888-732-8587. Ole Miss fans will enjoy 6 home games this season, including SEC matchups with Vanderbilt, Alabama, Arkansas, and Georgia. To see these games, you must have season tickets. Call 888-732-8587 to secure your seat aboard the Rebel Express.
Oh, Lucy, Ruby, Maggie, Phoebe, Jane, all the little ladies driving me insane. Got me on a leash, Mary Lou in a lane, pulling me around like a ball and chain. Dr. Pepper, you make the world taste better. Dr. Pepper, you make the world taste better.
There was a time when a handshake was more than a gesture. When a hard day's work was a hard day's work. And folks took their time to do things the right way. Round here, we didn't forget. Gold-Kissed Farms chicken. Nothing's fresher than getting it from a farmer.
Taking a look at LSU's schedule, doesn't get any bigger than September 1st against cross-state rival Tulane. The two getting together for the first time since 1996. Then they host Utah State and Auburn before going on the road to Tennessee. Remember, the Vols looking for revenge. Then it's Florida at home before going to Kentucky and Mississippi State. Then Ole Miss in Baton Rouge, to Alabama. Then it's Middle Tennessee and Arkansas at home to close out the season. And that'll do it for our inside look at the 2001 LSU Tigers. For our entire College Sports Southeast staff, I'm Kevin Hensley. Thanks for watching, everybody, and so long.
Set your clock for Midnight Rock. 30 passionate power ballads from TV music for you. Midnight Rock on 2 cassettes or 2 CDs. This album is not sold in stores, so order now. Call this toll-free number now to order Midnight Rock. 2 cassettes $21.99, 2 CDs $26.99 plus $5.50 for shipping and handling. Have your credit card ready and call now.
Blue Cross Blue Shield was there for us when my wife beat cancer. This is a neat picture of 1979. It's pretty good to remember.
It seems like once you turn 40, things begin to happen in your life.
The last thing I want to be worrying about is coverages, and Blue Cross Blue Shield, I didn't.
It was something we didn't even have to think about. We could focus on beating the disease. Blue Cross took care of everything for us.
She's doing great.
The Miller's going to kick from near the local hash mark. That is the nearest one on this side.
And the first game for the LSU Tigers this year is about to get underway. Miller, a line drive that may go out of bounds. No, Martin takes it on the 2. Up to the 20. First down, LSU. And credit the tackle to number 19 for North Carolina, who is Danny Burmeister. LSU's offense at quarterback Wickersham, Hilliard the running back, James the tailback, Andrews, Davis, and McGee are the receivers. Here come the Tigers to the line of scrimmage. Over the ball. Alpagamo, fumble by Wickersham. He has recovered back around the 17-yard line. He fumbled the initial snap, and Ron Burton was all over him for North Carolina.
And John, this is the group that really may be the key to LSU's season. This offensive line, Kurt Gore, the only senior on that group, and really the only one with any offensive experience. John Hazard played most of last year, but most of it was on defense. So that's a group we'll have to watch very carefully to see how they develop.
A flag and maybe too much time by the Tigers. So LSU is getting a poor start here. Maybe somebody jumped prematurely. Let's check to see what happens here.
Dead ball. Delay procedure. Offense. John, that's movement by Jimmy Goodrum there at the left tackle. He's one of those youngsters who has really come along in the offseason, but starting his first game, and you know he's got to be nervous. LSU with a very inauspicious beginning. A fumble on the first play, a 5-yard penalty before the second play, and the Tigers really have gotten themselves somewhat in a hole on this first drive.
So second down and 17. The Tigers are now back at their 13-yard line. Hilliard and James set behind Wickersham, who put it up. Intercepted. Ricochet off the receiver and intercepted by Howard Feggins. So Carolina has a scoring opportunity on a pass interception. The ball ricocheted off the shoulder of one of the LSU players. And Feggins was there to run under it from the 13-yard line in LSU territory.
John, the cause of this interception is the ball that got batted at the line of scrimmage, particularly in this area of the field. It's so important that the offensive line make the defensive linemen lower their hands so that the quarterback can get the ball up and over. That didn't happen. The ball got popped up to the line of scrimmage. Feggins intercepted. LSU, fortunately, was allowed to make the tackle before the touchdown.
First down, Carolina with Anthony at quarterback. And up the middle goes number 27, Brad Lopp. And he hits up the middle inside the 10 to about the 9-yard line.
Lopp is the youngster that surprised a lot of people last week, scored a touchdown, gained around 70 yards during the ball game against Navy, and that is a surprise because he outgained the tailback, William Humes, who really is the stalwart of this running attack.
Streeter to the right and Earl Winfield, premier receiver, to the left, and Anthony is going to throw to the end zone. This is Winfield, incomplete. Coverage by LSU's Chris Carrier, number 11. Kevin Anthony, number 7, is the quarterback for North Carolina, a junior from Decatur, Georgia, against Navy last week. He was 16 out of 29, and here's the LSU defense. At nose guard, Henry Thomas. The linebackers on the inside are Burks and Caston. The defensive ends, Barbay and Wilson. Sancho is an outside linebacker. It is third down now from the LSU 10-yard line. North Carolina, after the interception, has Anthony back again to throw up the middle, incomplete. And we have interference called, I think, maybe against Sean Burks. A receiver far to the outside. Winfield was looking toward the official, and the official ran toward the play and calls pass interference against LSU as Burks ran over a would-be receiver up the middle, Eric Streeter.
John, that's a pretty fortunate break for North Carolina because really there was no one open in the middle. LSU had a lot of people grouped there in the middle of the field where the ball was being thrown. There really was no hope of anyone making the reception. But it certainly gives North Carolina a new breath of life.
First down, the Tar Heels at the LSU 8-yard line. ricocheted pass attempted by Wickersham and an interception by Feggins. Run back to the LSU 13. Now a penalty against the Tigers. First down for the Tar Heels at the LSU 8-yard line. We have no score yet. And here's Anthony to throw again out here to Winfield. He's interference called again. This time against Kevin Guidry of LSU. And so 2 pass interference calls down deep have put LSU in very, very precarious position early in the game.
And John, this will be an interesting discussion because the official who was watching this play, and you'll see that he's standing right by the play, called nothing whatsoever except an incomplete pass. You see the official coming from the goalpost is the one that threw the flag. Here the official right at the corner called nothing but an incomplete pass. But the official who threw the flag, it ruled it pass interference. Another first down on the 2-yard line. And LSU's defense has made up their mind that they want to see just how good they are down here.
So first down and only 2 yards to pay dirt for Carolina in a scoreless game just at the beginning of the game. Kevin Anthony. And that's number 27, Lob, bangs into the right side. Touchdown, North Carolina. After Feggins' interception of a ricocheted pass and a run back to the 13 in Tiger territory, finally, fullback Brad Lopp, number 27, bangs into the right side, and North Carolina leads 6-0. Trying will be Lee Gliarmas to make the point after. Made 3 last week, and he kicks this one. It is good. Timeout in the game to score. Early in the contest, North Carolina 7, LSU nothing.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Bell.
And I'm Kevin Hensley.
And we hope you're enjoying the many football preview specials airing this summer right here on College Sports Southeast.
But on Monday, July 30th, College Sports Central returns with the most up-to-date college sports news.
That's right. College Sports Central will come to you from the Winfrey Hotel in Birmingham the week of July 30th, site of the SEC Football Media Days.
So join us for the return of College Sports Central starting on July 30th, 6:30 and 10 o'clock Central Time here on College Sports Southeast.
There was a time when a handshake was more than a gesture. When a hard day's work was a hard day's work. And folks took their time to do things the right way. Round here, we didn't forget. Gold-Kissed Farms chicken. Nothing's fresher than getting it from a farmer.
The purple and gold of LSU, Doug, have found out just how tough Carolina can be deep in purple and gold territory. So now the Tigers early in the game and right at the beginning of the season are going to play catch-up.
Well, all those folks who came up from Louisiana to watch this ball game, and John, we heard a lot of them last night say that LSU was going to shut North Carolina out. We know that at least they were wrong that much because that's not going to happen today. And North Carolina very impressive both ways so far.
Kenny Miller to Sammy Martin. He won't run it out. It'll be LSU 1st and 10 from the Tiger 20-yard line. Well, how fast things can happen. We've only played a minute and 45 seconds or so of the first quarter. And North Carolina, after a pass interception, has rammed the ball into LSU's end zone. Gliarmas has kicked the point after. There's Coach Arns Parker, seemingly not upset. He's a very cool gentleman and knows a lot about the game. Good leader. Here's Wickersham off to James to the outside, and he's going to get 5 yards. Hit by Howard Feggins, the ram back or rover back in the defense played by North Carolina. Second down along 5 for the LSU Tigers at their 23.
And that's a new defense that Dick Crum put in this year. Normally, he played a 5-man front with 3 down people and a nose tackle. He has moved to actually 4 down linemen. He calls another guy the ram. He's really a rover. And Feggins, who intercepted the pass a few moments ago, is the guy who they anticipate will go to the football at all times. Looks like a check off at the line here, John.
And Wickersham is throwing to McGee. Off the mark a little bit. McGee had turned inside of the defensive back, Darrell Johnson. And so was open, but Wickersham threw the ball widely. And so it is third down along 5. The Tigers of LSU are at their 25 and trailing the Tar Heels of North Carolina 0-7. We have 12 and a half minutes to play in the first quarter. Double wing, Wickersham back again. Will run it. Close to a first down, but maybe not quite. He's going to be spotted at the 30-yard line, and Carl Carr, linebacker, is the man who makes the stop. He's right at the 30-yard line. Here are the Tiger players, John Hazard, Latrell Bergamo, and that new offensive line, about what everything has been said. And not a lot of it positively either. Here's the replay.
John, here's you're going to see something which really is important for LSU this year. Only 4 people rushing on this play, and still Jeff Wickersham does not have time to do anything downfield. He's got to run the football. Now, if Carolina can rush 4 people and put that type of pressure on him, they've got 7 people covering there in the secondary, and LSU's going to have an awful tough time getting people open. That's that young offensive line that really needs some time to get some seasoning, and LSU's defense will need to take up the slack. But it'll be interesting to watch it because North Carolina's put an awful lot of pressure on LSU so far.
That's my point, Doug. Everybody's been saying that the offensive line is very suspect. Well, of course, the team is depending on the offensive line. It's bigger, it's perhaps more talented, but we'll have to season a little bit. Larry Griffin is back to receive the punt, and here is Matt DeFrank, number 3, to punt on 4th down at just inches for LSU at the Tiger 30-yard line. Carolina leads 7-0, and the kick. A wobbly kick going to Griffin at his 38, and he's down and piled up, isn't he, at about the 40-yard line. Carrier down under there, Walden Cager, and a bunch of others for LSU. We also see down quickly on the kick Mike Mays, number 86. Mays is another one of those new Tiger names, a freshman from DeRidder. First down, the Tar Heels at their 39.
And just about 30 yards on the exchange that LSU gained, and that's not quite enough. They've got to back Carolina a little deeper.
Anthony has a double wing set up, slot to the left, and throws out to that right man on there, and that's Winfield. He's going to be hit near the sidelines and chased out by Henry Thomas. Slowed up by Roland Barbay, number 77. He gains nothing. Second down, 10.
And that's a good play by Roland Barbay, a defensive end, to be out there on that receiver as quickly. He didn't really make the tackle, but he put so much pressure on Winfield that all of the remainder of the pursuit had a chance to get over there and stop it.
Turn of Henry Thomas is a very bright mark on the LSU defense. He's in the middle, right over the center, right there. In motion, wide receiver, and here goes a run to the right side outside the 40, about the 42, and by Brad Lopp, who scored the touchdown a few minutes ago. Last week, Lopp carried the ball a dozen times and gained 72 yards. 7-0 North Carolina. The Tar Heels have the ball at their 42. Third down and along 7. Tigers shift around. They end up in a 3-man line with the linebacker tucked to the outside, still moving around. That's Wilson changing position. Anthony back to throw. Incomplete. And for the first time on a Carolina pass, no flag.
It's about time, isn't it?
4th down. The Tar Heels at their 42-yard line. And a young fellow by the name of Tommy Barnhart, number 17, of whom everyone says in this section of the country at least that he's the best punter in the ACC, is back to kick. Gary James is going to try to return for LSU. He's standing back at his 15. Not a good kick by Barnhart. James takes it on the run. LSU's ball at the 26-yard line. The wind got that one, I think, and made it come down a little prematurely. And so hopping on the ball for the LSU Tigers, number 28, Rob Cutbirth from Metairie. First down, the Tigers at their 26.
That's a heads-up play by Rob Cutbirth, too, because Steve Rehage was right in front of James, but he was turning around. When James made the call, Rehage turned around to make a block. Never even saw the football being fumbled, though it was right underneath his feet. Cutbirth coming back downfield to make the block, hopped on it very, very smartly.
On his first try running the ball today, Tigers Heisman Trophy candidate Dalton Hilliard trips, and he's down for a 2-yard loss. Second down, 12. The Tigers are at their 24-yard line. Back in this series, we've had some interesting things happen. In 1948, when LSU played here, the Tigers were beaten handily by North Carolina, led by Charlie Choo-Choo Justice. So in the return game at Baton Rouge, ball play, Hilliard bouncing around. Gains back the lost yardage. It'll be third down and 10. North Carolina came to Tiger Stadium to play. There was that famous incident of watering down the field, and Justice, who was a very light fellow but a great player, was not able to hold his footing on the wet turf at Tiger Stadium. And it was an accusation made against then athletic director Skipper Hurd that the Tigers purposely had left the water on, watering the field. Third and 10. Was on his way down the field, and Wickersham was waiting for him to work open, but he didn't count on Ron Burton, number 96, to hit him so hard from the rear. So Wickersham is sacked back at the 16, a loss of 10. It's 4th and 20.
John, here's the same thing basically that happened a few minutes ago. LSU has 5 offensive blockers to block 4 defensive people, and yet North Carolina got their 2 defensive ends in on Wickersham. Now that tells you that the line is just not performing their job.
DeFrank needs to get a good one away. The point of the down to 16. Not a good kick. Coming out of bounds inside LSU's end of the playing field at the 45. And the Tigers are not getting a good start in this game today. First down, the Tar Heels at the LSU 45-yard line, but we have a discussion. Illegal procedure against LSU. Carolina has the choice, and we would think that the Tar Heels would turn it down.
Well, they can't expect too much better than they have right there on the 45.
Team is declined.
LSU sure having a tough time getting untracked offensively. Defensively, one series, the last series, LSU really played up to their reputation. The 2 penalties on the earlier drive where Carolina scored have put LSU in the hole 7-0 here in about midway through the first quarter.
Right out to the right, Humes. The tailback is in the slot. Lopp is the remaining back behind Kevin Anthony. The quarterback, number 7, Winfield, is set to the left as a receiver possibility. LSU in the 3-man line. First down at the Tiger 45. There goes Lopp. There comes Burks. A loss on the play. Burks has help from Rehage from strong safety. And there's a loss of almost 2 on the play. It'll be second down at the LSU 47 and 12 to go for the Tar Heels.
John, Coach Bill Arnsberger feels that if this defensive team can hold up more than its end for the first several games and give that offensive team time to season, that he could have a great year. And that's what they're doing right now. But the defense has got to come up with big plays and score points themselves.
There's the Carolina eye with Lopp and then Humes. Top up the middle on a trap play. Gains down to the LSU 41-yard line. And Humes is hit by Toby Caston and Carrier.
Humes escaped a tackle in the backfield and turned that seemingly 2 or 3 yard loss into about a 4-yard gain. So that was really all due to William Humes' excellent running. LSU's defense, though, playing inspired football right now, and they certainly need it the way the offense is playing.
So a passing down with third down and 6, and Anthony's back to put it up. Here it goes. It's to Winfield, incomplete. And around the Tiger 20. And he was sandwiched between Rehage and Guidry. 4th down.
Covering was Kevin Guidry.
Now Gliarmas is in to, it's going to be Barnhart to punt. The before the game, and just this position on the field in the warm-ups, he was kicking them sky high up to the level of the upper deck of the stadium here, which seats about 50,000. There's Gary James standing back inside the 10. Probably won't field the ball. Here's that high kick, just as I said. Carolina downs it at the LSU 13. So first down, LSU has the ball at the LSU 13-yard line, and we have a flag on the play, and I'm not sure what kind of a discussion will take place here.
Well, John, I think the flag has to be that North Carolina had people so close to the ball that no LSU player, had he wanted to try to catch the ball, had an opportunity. And you've got to give the receiving team an opportunity to make the catch.
That would help the Tigers out of a hole, and let's see what the situation is. Interference called against North Carolina.
It's one thing to go down there and be prepared to down that ball deep in the opponent's territory, but you've got to remember as a coverage team that the receiving team has to be given the opportunity to catch
fence. Kicking team is within 3 yards.
Penalty against the Tar Heels. Against the right to make a fair catch.
LSU first and 10 from the Tiger 18. No shakes of a game offensively on either side so far. Although Carolina leads 7-0, here comes Hilliard sliding to the outside, picks up about 2 yards. And he's done in by Reuben Davis. Davis, a 270-pound defensive tackle, they call him. He's actually a defensive end on the outside to the near side toward the cameras. From the 21. Second down along 7. He is set to the left. Wickersham to throw again. Up the middle to Andrews. Complete. Near a first down at the LSU 28-yard line. Brett Rudolph, a linebacker, hits Andrews. In passing, Wickersham is 2 out of 4 and interception. That first one was a ricocheted pass that was intercepted by the Ram back Howard Beckett, 16, down to the LSU 13, and Lop subsequently scored. It's 7-0. Carolina leads LSU early in the game. Carolina clogs the middle as Hilliard tries to bump through there, but he does get the first down at the LSU 30-yard line. And Ron Burton and also Carr are in on the tackle.
And John, that's something that was sorely needed by the LSU offense. They barely made it, but they did make the first down and have an opportunity to keep the football.
That's the Tigers' first down of the game. Carolina has 2. Gary James. A short gain. It's turned in by Morris Davis, number 4, at the 33-yard line.
John, LSU has been very, very unsuccessful running the football so far today. They have tried to use sweep-type action and delayed action in the backfield to run off tackle. It may be that you'll see them go straight at the North Carolina middle to try to hit something quick and try to pop it open in the middle.
Wide to the right, Wendell Davis, pitch out to James. He's open. He's at midfield. He's down at the 26-yard line in Carolina territory. Going to be a big gain from the 33 to the 50. And just as makes the tackle.
Just as I say that, they go around in. But here, you're going to see a very quick pitch. And Dalton Hilliard's faking the trap up the middle, but a pitch to James. Everyone got sucked in to try to tackle Hilliard, and James was wide open for a long gainer down the sideline.
Here goes Hilliard to the sideline. Slides out at the 20, gets 6 after James carry that met at 42 yards. Derek Donald was worked over on that one too, had to make the tackle. Just outside the 20, second down, and a little more than 4 yards to go for a first down. Here comes Mays back in, number 86, there he is.
And at least temporarily, that LSU offensive line has gained a little confidence.
To the left and Wickersham to throw. To the end zone, James, touchdown. Oh, he doesn't have it. At the last second, it was pulled out by Carl Carr, linebacker. James had the ball, but Tiger touchdown.
John, that's called pass interference. They didn't throw the flag, but that's exactly what he did. And you can't blame Carr. He did the only thing that he could do. He was beaten badly by Gary James, and he was just trying to catch up with it and commit pass interference rather than let James score the touchdown.
The fact that James has been used so frequently early in the game on outside plays and pass receiving is a new wrinkle in the Tiger offense for the year. Third down, a long four, Wickersham to the air again. Rehage has the ball. Not quite a first down.
And Craig Rafton swinging out of the backfield, and this is not a usual play for LSU's offense, but it's something different, a wrinkle that they can use. Normally, Craig Rafton would be blocking in that situation. Here he swung out around the left side. He almost escaped for the touchdown. As it was, he got within a yard of the first down. LSU's trying to decide and has decided apparently to go for the first down. Here on about the 17-yard line of Carolina, 5:39 left in the first quarter. LSU down 7-0.
And it's 4th and 1 at the 17. In motion, Gary James. Wickersham to throw to him. First down at the 15. But a good defensive play by Larry Griffin stops it from going the distance. Now this LSU team seems to have found its place on the field.
And this is a good play. You fake to Hilliard, and you see he wouldn't have made the first down clearly. James was wide open early in the play. Wickersham, though, just wanted to lay the ball out, make sure of the first down, and he did exactly that. James concentrated, pulled the ball in, and LSU with the first down right on the 15.
Tigers did not go for the field goal. Went for the first down. Up the middle, Hilliard around the 12. And Carl Carr, who is really performing up to peak efficiency right now for Carolina, makes first contact with Ron Burton.
John, if you recall last year in LSU's game against Florida in the opener, LSU did the same thing a number of times. They went for first on fourth down situations where normally you might try a field goal. What that does is to put pressure on the defense in third down plays, because if they don't think you're trying to set up the field goal, it gives you your whole offense that you can run at them, and they really can't chuck away and expect that you'll just try to keep the ball.
From the 11, here goes Hilliard, out of bounds at the 8-yard line, maybe the 7. And he was looking for the hole in the middle of the line, but just slid to the outside. Howard Feggins, the Ramback, is the man who chases him off the field. They say at about the 7-yard line, third down and 2 yards to go. The Tigers have moved all the way from their 18-yard line to a 3rd and 2 at the Carolina 7-yard line in this drive. The highlight play was a 42-yard run by Gary James.
Yeah, I know.
And a 4th and 1 first down pass, Wickersham to James. Wickersham throwing. There's Hilliard. First down, he's down to the 1 or 2-yard line. Higgins again on the tackle. It's first and goal to go for LSU, and they're going to put the ball at the 1-yard line.
John, that's a play that LSU might be able to run all day against North Carolina, because in going to the 8-man front that they have, they've got their 2 linebackers caught way inside, and if you run away from their monster back, it means someone's got to come from deep in the secondary to cover Hilliard coming out of the backfield, or a linebacker will be on it.
Hilliard with the ball, jumps over, Higgins to Taylor. And it's a 7-6 game. Carolina's lead is now 1 point. The Tigers have moved 82 yards. James run the highlight, but the Tigers got stronger in the drive.
And watch the middle of LSU's offensive line. All they want to do is to bury North Carolina's defense to allow Dalton Hilliard some jumping room. And jump he did up and over the top for the touchdown.
Jimmy Taylor made that famous, not only in the pros, but in his LSU uniform, way back in the 50s. Matt DeFrank. No, that's going to be Ron Lewis, with Guidry holding at the 10-yard line. Lewis can really kick him, and he does. It is a tie game. A tie game with 4:04 to go in the first quarter. LSU begins to show its strength, and timeout is called on the field with the score: Carolina 7, LSU 7.
Imagine if you could reduce the interest rate on your credit cards by half or more.
Interest on our credit cards used to be 21 to 23%. Now they're down to 8% or less.
Get out of debt in 3 to 5 years.
Before Cambridge, it would have taken me 10 years to get out of debt. With Cambridge, I'll be debt-free in 2 to 3 years.
Reduce your monthly payments by 1/3 or more.
I was paying $1,000 a month on my bills. Now it's down to $460.
And even get cash back.
We've gotten 3 checks so far, one for $230, one for $135, and this last one for $150, just for paying on time every month.
Cambridge Credit Counseling is a non-profit service. They'll work with you and your creditors to reduce your monthly payments.
It's not like bankruptcy, which hurts your credit. Cambridge is a solution we were praying for.
A phone call, couple faxes, and I was done.
Give Cambridge Credit Counseling a call. Find out how good it feels to be debt-free.
Matt DeFrank kicks off, and down the field, number 44 returns. That's Eric Starr up the far sidelines, and he bobbles the ball on the sidelines. It's a big scramble for it, but he's out of bounds back down the field at the 24-yard line, they say.
I'm
John Ferguson.
He's lucky that he stepped out of bounds back there because he fumbled the football as he was going out, but the football stayed in bounds, and LSU did, in fact, make the recovery. And had he not stepped out back on the 24, it would be LSU's football. We got a flag down on the 10-yard line, apparently against Carolina, so that's going to put them deep in the hole, and we'll see what their offense can do when backed up deep in their own territory.
That most likely means a clip. It usually does in situations of that type.
Well, it's so easy now in college football. On any kicking play, if you block below the waist, they're going to throw the flag. They've gone to great lengths to try to protect players. Players still continue to get seriously hurt.
Flipping! Receiving team on the run back, half a distance to the goal.
And so not only clips, but also any blocks below the waist are being called. And it's very, very difficult when you're moving at the speeds at which these young men move to pick where you're going to hit somebody. You just go after him and try to make sure he gets blocked.
So the Tar Heels try it from the 5, and up the middle, Brad Lopp is stacked up near the line of scrimmage. Tigers are ecstatic, and that's Toby Caston who's firing them up out there with Ron Sancho, number 52.
Sean Burks. Going to go on to the 7.
From the 7-yard line, second down, about 8 to go. 7-7 game. LSU is working out to be the stronger team, even at this stage of the first quarter. Long count by Anthony. And here comes a run that loses the original yards gain. Or close to it as Hume, number 6, is knocked down hard and thrown away by Sancho.
And John, Carl Wilson just stripped Humes. He got into the backfield. It was kind of a counter action where Anthony faked the ball to his right, turned around, handed back to Humes. Here you're going to see Anthony spinning, fakes the ball one way, gives it back to Humes coming around, and fooled the cameraman. Pretty good fake by Anthony, but it didn't fool Carl Wilson in the backfield. A great defensive play.
So Wilson, assisted by Sancho, makes a big play. Anthony to throw from the end zone. He'll have to hurry. He's got out there. Franklin, short of a first down, or right at the 15. It'll be close for a first down.
Tackle by Sanchez.
Sancho again is in on the tackle, and they're short of a first down as Arnold Franklin catches his 3rd ball of the year. 2 against Navy for 17 yards a week ago with Carolina won 21-19.
To the 15.
So the Tar Heels will punt with Tommy Barnhart coming in. Punting into the wind here.
From the 15.
Up the field, Gary James, who really this year, Coach Arnsparger insisted that he'd be allowed to return punts. Coach Arnsparger stated that when they started practicing that, James just got back there. Great kick to the 35. Bobbled by James. He picks it up, and he's down at the 35. A 50-yarder.
John, that was a great kick, but I tell you, if Gary does not catch that ball, if he keeps dropping it like that, insist or not, Coach Arnsparger is not going to let him stay there. That's dangerous when you drop that football back there, especially since LSU has gotten back into this game and pretty much taken charge of it. But you've got to make sure that you maintain control of the football. Don't make those mistakes. Give some credit to Barnhart, though. Terrific punt. And he really did back LSU up.
A solid 50 yards for Barnhart. And here's a pitch out going to a new back in the game for LSU, Garland Jean-Baptiste. From St. Martinville. Around the left side, he picks up 2 yards, hit by Morris Davis. 2nd and 8 to go. In season opening games on the road, LSU through the years is 9-9-2. The last LSU road win on a season lid lifter came in 1979 when the Tigers routed Colorado 44-0 out in Boulder. That's another pretty place. And here's a run to the right side, which gains short yardage. The Tigers probing up the middle and trying to work in behind that developing young offensive line. Brett Rudolph makes a tackle of Batiste again. Sammy Martin is coming on. At 23, he's in there with his back to us. Wendell Davis from Shreveport Fair Park High School, number 82, goes to the left of the formation. 3rd down, about 7. Wickersham to the air. To the 45, almost 10 yards, maybe a little more. If so, he may have a first down. It appears that he has gained the 10, but we have a Carolina player who's banged up behind the line of scrimmage.
John, you're going to see Wickersham again having the problem. He goes back, he can't find his receiver, he feels some pressure, so he steps out of the pocket. He made a nice fake this time, but then he made this first down all on his own. Watch as he jumps over, he holds the ball out on the right side over the yardage marker. That's what he needed for the first down, because the ball was going to be right on the 45-yard line was where the yard marker was. He had to get the ball past that for the first.
But Doug, Wickersham is not reputed to be a big, there's the injured player, and I think that's Reuben Davis, number 93, defensive left tackle for Carolina, who was blocked trying to get to Wickersham to make the tackle, and in the fall, perhaps he hurt a knee.
My family doctor said I needed gallbladder surgery, but the insurance company wouldn't pay for it.
They made me change to a different medication, and it doesn't work as well.
They told me it was covered, but now they say it isn't.
I can't afford to pay for it.
They said it had to be set by my doctor back in Georgia. How can I drive with a broken arm?
We are the people caught in the HMO crisis. Look familiar?
Maybe it's the way the grass bends, or the way the sun paints the sky. But more than likely, it's the smell in the kitchen at the end of the day that gets us out of bed to do it all over again. Gold-Kissed Farms chicken. Nothing's fresher than getting it from a farmer.
Here's what LSU did on first down. Wickersham bobbled the snap from center, fumbled the ball out to the 5-yard line. Carolina has recovered, and then on a play, here is Anthony throwing to the end zone for a touchdown to Brad Lopp, who scores for the 2nd time today. Wickersham fumbled. Carolina recovered at the 5, and so it is a pass complete to Brad Lopp.
And that's a fine play by Anthony, a good fake. They went ahead and took the running fake on first down. Brad Lopp in the flat, and he made a great catch. Just took it away from LSU's secondary.
Learmas has his point after try blocked, and so it's going to be a 13-7 game. Well, we regret not being able to show you the particular action there on which Carolina came back and really popped the ball to the end zone. But here's the touchdown pass on a replay. Let's look at this. Here's Anthony running to the left. He's looking off to the left side and throws the ball. That's Lopp, number 27, who grabs the ball with the LSU Tigers hanging on. In fact, one of them may have held on by the face pass, Jimmy Pearson, but it is a touchdown, and Learmas' point after is blocked, and it's 13-7. North Carolina leads LSU.
And Nicky Hazard was there on the coverage. He went up, and really Nicky Hazard felt that he had the interception. Lopp just took the ball away from him, took it out of his hands. A great individual play by Lopp, and a fine pass by Anthony. It's one of those passes, though, it goes for the touchdown or goes for the interception. Carolina just fought a little bit harder for it, and they came away with the score and a 13-7 lead.
Kenny Miller's going to kick off, and Jones and Martin are standing at the goal line down to our right, and the game will get cranked up again. So this action in this contest happened there very, very very quickly and almost instantaneously. Martin is going to run it out at the 20-yard line. Well, he gets the same that he would have gotten had he gone to a knee in the end zone. And he's tackled by Antonio Goss, a linebacker, number 45.
LSU's offense back on the field, but John, have only been effective on one drive in this football game and totally ineffective on all the others. Carolina has come back to life offensively, and they've given LSU a good deal of problems.
Well, Dalton Hilliard after the rest being horse-collared around the 22-yard line. Noel McEachern and Howard Feggins are the men who make the tackle, and here is Jordan Holberg on the sidelines with an injury report.
John, Toby Casson had a slight sprain to his left knee. He'll be okay. No point to remember. Henry Thomas just blocked the extra point. Maybe a big play to think of later on in the ballgame.
Second down, 7 at the 23-yard line. Wickersham back to throw. Has a man open. Gary James has a first down. Stumbles ahead to about the 34-yard line. First down, LSU. Well, the Tigers have just made so many mistakes today that they find themselves 6 points down. It's not the fact that LSU's play has been inept at all. It is just the fact that there have been some mistakes that have been plaguing the Tigers, offensively particularly. First down at the 34-yard line. Wickersham on a draw. Hilliard has it up the middle. He's at the 50. He's getting 10 more. He's still going. Another one of those patented Dalton Hilliard Heisman Trophy runs. Ends at the Carolina 34-yard line.
Now, that's a very effective play by Hilliard. Here you see, this is a draw play. Hilliard takes it, and it's a lead draw with Gary James leading through the hole. He made a good block, and then Dalton Hilliard turns that into a long run all by himself. He never has had blazing speed in the open field, but he's got so much quickness, and he has more than enough speed to outrun most people.
Larry Griffin and Darrell Johnson stopped him at the 34, and here goes Hilliard again, trying the right side. From the 34, he travels down to around the 31 or the 30, maybe, as Brett Rudolph makes the stop there.
Tackled by Noel McCayer. Gain of 4 to the 30.
Just as we talk about LSU's offense having a difficult time, they again have come to life. The Tigers need those big plays, though, out of their big play people, James and Hilliard. They need the individual effort.
Second down from the 31. Hilliard slides to the outside, looking for the first down. They have it inside the 25-yard line.
Tackle by Norris Davis.
Clock shows 7:03 to go in the first half. North Carolina leads LSU 13-7.
Flag down.
Discussion on the play, and the referee says personal foul against North Carolina, and that will be tacked on the end of the play. That's the damaging kind of penalty you get in this particular case, I think, Doug, from hitting late and out of the field of play.
Well, you know, I guess you get mad trying to tackle somebody like Dalton Hilliard. You go to tackle him and he's gone.
Personal foul. Penalty is half the distance to go.
The penalty carries to the 12-yard line.
And then after that, you go to try to commit a penalty on him, and he's so quick, he moves out of the way. You miss him, but you get the flag thrown on you anyway.
Wickersham and the Tigers on the line. Wickersham is going to throw down here, and here's Raji McGee. Great catch, and it's a 6-pointer for McGee and Wickersham and the Tigers, and the game is tied again. What about that for a one-handed catch by Raji McGee from Bogalusa?
John, that's a very popular play the last several years. Chris Collinsworth at Florida is the first one that made this popular because he was tall. He could go up and catch the ball very well. Here you see another fellow who's tall. He can go up and catch it very well. Raji McGee goes out down the sideline. He fades away toward the sideline, and Wickersham just dumped the ball over the top and let him use his great skill to go up and catch it.
Ron Lewis tries to get his second point after of the day. Guidry will hold, and here's the try. They bobble it, and Guidry's going to have to throw. He can't, and so that one is fouled up, and it's still a tie game. Guidry got a low snap from center, didn't handle it, and so the whole point after goes awry. Timeout in the game. The score is tied again. North Carolina 13, LSU 13.
Mr. Fred, they just built this bench not too long ago, and it's already rotten. There's got to be better material.
Well, Dad, burn it, Jimmy. Is that any way to treat it?
Treat it! Yeah!
Osmos Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern Wood has a lifetime warranty against rot and decay. So remember, if it doesn't say Osmos on the yellow tag, believe me, you don't want it.
Dad, burn it, Jimmy. You're getting old.
Maybe it's the way the grass bends, or the way the sun paints the sky. But more than likely, it's the smell in the kitchen at the end of the day that gets us out of bed to do it all over again. Gold-Kissed Farms chicken. Nothing's fresher than getting it from a farmer.
Matt DeFrank will kick off for the Tigers. It's 13-13. And the ball goes to the end zone, and that's Eric Starr. Flags everywhere. And an LSU man, Cutbirth, has been shaken up. The play ends at the 17-yard line. Here's what happened on the point after try. Here's Guidry looking for the snap. He checks around to the kicker, Ron Lewis, waits for the ball, and here it comes, and it was right on his hands. He just missed it. And so he picks it up and comes back and fumbles it as he comes back. Here's Cuthbert being handled by John Anderson, the Tiger trainer.
And John Anderson's looking at Rob Cuthbert's knee. He came down and was the first man down on the coverage team. Got hit by two people, and a flag was immediately thrown.
It was a clip.
It was a clip.
And so Cuthbert was the man who took it on the knee there, and so the penalty is stepped off against North Carolina back to the Carolina 5, but that may not be the damaging item about this particular contact.
Well, they have called Dr. John Thomas out, who is one of the orthopedic surgeons on the trip with the Tigers this week. When they do that, it means it's not just your basic bruise type injury. It means that it needs professional help immediately, and Dr. Thomas is trying to get some assistance, I believe, to get a stretcher out.
That's John Anderson, the trainer, on the right of the picture, Dr. Thomas on the left, and of course Rod Cutbirth, who is one of the young fellows who had an unfortunate injury a year ago to a leg. And he's trying to get the full season of action in this time, but it appears that he is going to miss at least some of it.
John, this pretty well highlights the reason for the rules against blocking below the waist on kicks and clipping at all times. It's because of this type of injury with so many people moving so fast. Those bodies have tremendous power, and this type of injury is inevitable anyway, but certainly there needs to be no rules infraction. There'll be enough injuries if people play within the rules. It's damaging to the individual himself physically, but also damaging to the game of football because it results in more restrictive rules, and those rules really take away from the enjoyment of the game.
The LSU crowd is replete here, and a lot of purple and gold, particularly gold, across the field. There's Coach Arnsparger, who's looking around at his staff and talking to members of the team and members of the staff in order to try to get the team settled down for the type of activity which he expects all the time. We're going to be just a couple of moments here, I think, so let's pause for a few minutes during this timeout. Here's your score: North Carolina 13, LSU 13.
Now glide your way to rock-hard abs with GlideMaster XL, the fast, easy way to sculpt all your abdominals. Watch, place the GlideMaster close to your knees, then simply glide out back and forth in front of you. Firm and flatten upper abs, tone and tighten lower abs, or glide from side to side to work and define those hard-to-reach love handles. GlideMaster's assisted dual resistance provides constant toning with every movement. Watch, sit-ups may work the wrong muscle groups, causing stress on your neck and back. But GlideMaster XL actually strengthens your back, shoulders, arms, and chest muscles for a whole upper body workout. Now you can order the amazing GlideMaster XL with exercise guide for only $19.99. We guarantee that you'll see amazing results in just 30 days, so glide those abs into shape with GlideMaster XL.
Call 800-535-6256 to receive your GlideMaster for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling, or visit us online at 800buyitnow.com.
That's the chapel overlooking the stadium and a lot of the North Carolina campus. This is one of the outstanding universities of the country, of course. Down on the field, Rod Cutworth is being assisted from the field by John Anderson on the right and John Purdy, assistant trainer, on the left. And there's Cutworth, number 28.
John, he's got a cast, and that's what they were waiting on. That is what took such a lengthy time. They had to bring a cast out and go ahead and cast his leg while he was on the field because he apparently has sustained a serious injury to his left leg. Presumably it's to his knee, but if not to his knee, it's something that requires that his leg be kept rigid. I certainly hope it is nothing permanent. He's a fine youngster and certainly is a tremendous asset to LSU as a university and to LSU's football team.
It was noteworthy that Coach Arnsparger came out on the field to check on him during the timeout that we had there. And so Cutworth is being taken to the sidelines and is now out of the game. Here comes the Tar Heel club from the 5-yard line. And a short run to the right side by William Humes. He had 58 yards a week ago, and he's been the ball carrier of note primarily for this Carolina team, which has been noted in past seasons for having the great running back. Kelvin Bryant is one. Eric Hill makes the stop. Hill is the freshman for Galveston, linebacker number 54. Playing way out here at the bottom of the picture. There's the Tar Heel eye. Winfield in motion back toward the play, and Humes comes to the right side. They hit him again, this time at the 10. Third down, 5 to go. The Tar Heels are at their 10-yard line. It's a 13-13 game, and both clubs here today have been performing not up to 100% efficiency, and that most likely is because of it being an early season game for Carolina and the first game for LSU this year. 3rd and 5 at the 10. Anthony to throw up the field. That's to Winfield. He got it down at the 45-yard line. He got past Kevin Guidry, number 27, and Guidry was lucky to have made the tackle as he turned around and sort of fell down the back of Winfield, who makes a great catch and a fine run.
John, this is a great play. Anthony has an out and up to Winfield. Winfield goes out, runs the short pattern. Guidry thought that that's what it was going to be. Here you saw that Guidry was very confused. He did not know the ball had even come at the time that Winfield had made the catch. A good quick fake by Winfield, but more important, a fine throw by Anthony.
Anthony threw for 250 yards a week ago, and he's having another fine day. It's a tie game, 13-13. Anthony to the tailback.
Humes carries.
Loses a yard. Hill breaks in with Barbay to make the tackle, and Burks.
Tackle by Babineau, a loss of 1 to the 44.
And John, LSU had their second defensive line in there down on the goal line. They had Phillips in the middle. Tommy Clapp had come in at the left side and George Enriquez at the right side, but immediately after that long play, they ran the first defensive line back onto the field.
Michael Brooks is back in, and Hill goes out at linebacker for LSU. 2nd down, 11. The Tar Heels are at their 44, and Anthony is back to throw again. Humes running past the umpire is hit at the 50-yard line by Michael Brooks. No long loss between those two. William Humes is really plummeted down by Brooks. Brooks said in an interview this past week when someone asked him tough it is against the other team. He said, nobody my age can block me. 3rd down and 5.
He's right. Hadn't found anybody yet.
3rd and 5 at the 50-yard line. Carolina with the ball in a tie game, 13-13 in the second quarter. We have 4:11 to play in the second quarter. Anthony again, wide of Hughes. And he had double covered down the field, the tight end, Arnold Franklin. That brings up 4th down. Tommy Barnhart, who had a 40-yard average last week and is moving along about in that range today, is back to punt on 4th and 5, the ball at the 50. Very high kick and great coverage down the field. Fair catch at the 19-yard line, or 20, by number 1, Owens.
Reception by Darrell Owens.
Let's go to Jordy, and he'll tell us about Rod Cudberth.
John, Rob has suffered a dislocated left knee on the fact that he was clipped from behind on the kickoff return. He'll be out for the rest of this game. They'll have to see about it later on in the week whether he'll be back for the season.
First down, the Tigers at their 20. The far inbound line to the right, open side of the field to the left, and here comes McGee out this way. Wickersham wants to unlimber his arm, and here he goes. Little swing pass to Hilliard. Look out. He's at the 25. He's at the 30. Close for a first down.
Pushed out by Larry Griffin.
Well, now Hilliard, even though he hasn't thrown the real long bomb, he throws one right here. Let's look at it again.
John, this is well executed. You saw Wickersham take a quick step up in the pocket and make a fake throw and then dump the ball off to Hilliard. This play was about a half a step from being a very long gainer. Dalton just couldn't find the seam that he needed, and so he wisely got as much yardage as possible and stepped it on out of bounds.
But it's a first down and 10 at the 30. Wickersham again. Short drop, rifles it over there. McGee drops the ball. No, it's incomplete.
John, that's a lucky break for the Tigers, I tell you. This play was a checkoff. This is the second time in this ball game that you have seen Jeff Wickersham change the play at the line of scrimmage in that manner. The Tigers use hand signals so that in crowded, noisy stadiums, the outside receivers will be able to pick up the change. That's what he did. He threw a quick post to McGee, who I believe made the catch, and then he got it stripped away from him by the defender.
I said that Wickersham hasn't thrown for the long bomb yet, but he's 11 out of 16. Gary James. Now he makes his run. Picks up about 10. Almost a first down. Gary James likes to run to the outside. He likes to get to that daylight area right at the sideline. He made a great career in high school out of that, and he's done well with it at LSU.
And John, again, that play, that's the same play that he made the big gainer on early in the ball game in the first quarter. He made the 42-yard run. On that play, it's essentially a naked play where only that running back is out there by himself. LSU doesn't lead with the other running back, and North Carolina's keying a great deal on where Hilliard goes.
There's McGee for another first down. On a first down play from just outside the 40, McGee catches a 10-yarder from Wickersham, and Griffin makes the tackle from behind, but after the fact, and it appears now that Wickersham really is on the ball. 12 out of 17 tried. Had it not been for Tiger mistakes on that ricochet pass right at the beginning and a couple of pass interference calls, the fumble at the other end. Here's a replay of that last pass.
And here you're going to see
shows you that he really can throw it.
And this is just a basic play. McGee goes down, he finds the spot, and you see he's right in the middle of three people. But he finds the spot, and Jeff Wickersham gets the ball there at the right time, and that's really what's important about it. And the timing is so important. This time in the season, very, very seldom are you going to see excellent timing on passing plays, and North Carolina really has an advantage on the timing in this game so far. That's why they've completed some very, very key passes.
Didn't quite get the first down, but Hilliard does. Hilliard, by the way, is chasing records. He has averaged 972 yards rushing per season, needs 1,120 yards more to become LSU's all-time rushing leader. He had 1,268 yards a year ago and scored 13 touchdowns. And by the way, as a sophomore, in his very first year, a freshman that is, he scored 16 times. That's a collegiate record. Here goes Hilliard again. Splits. Loses about a yard. Two-time All-America Charles Alexander is the current Tiger rushing king. He gained 4,035 yards from 1975 to 78. Hilliard trails Alexander by 38 points in the career scoring category going into this game. 7 touchdowns this year will ensure Hilliard to be the all-time scoring champion. He has 222 points so far right to this minute. Second down, about 12. Wickersham to the air, looking for way down here to Davis. Can't quite get it at the 5-yard line.
Wickersham's pass intended for Wendell.
We have a little scuffle going on behind the line of scrimmage.
Covering was Larry Griffin.
And Eric Andolsek is going to be charged with the penalty, I believe. We'll have a little discussion.
John, I haven't seen a flag thrown down there. And they shouldn't certainly throw one on Andolsek. What happened was that Tim Gold was on top of Nacho Albergamo and wouldn't let him get up. Andolsek went over to pull Gold off the top because the official standing there wouldn't do anything about it. And that's when the official intervened. Thank goodness no one was injured.
Well, they didn't penalize them after all. Wickersham is being chased. Ron Burton crashes in and gets Wickersham all the way back at the LSU 35. That's a loss of 16 yards.
A 16-yard loss.
Well, when you total up the yardage in total offense for Wickersham after this game, he's not going to look too fancy because he's been sacked a couple of times. That's not his fault, of course.
Well, let's talk about that in just a minute.
Kicking.
Pat DeFrank is back to punt. Wobbly kick is going to Griffin at the 25. Not a long kick. Here he comes. Stopped at the 33-yard line. First down. And we're going to give credit to a couple of young Tigers.
39-yard punt by DeFrank.
Here's Batiste on that tackle, and Mickey Harris is down there, and Walden Cajun.
John, let's talk about that. You mentioned that that's not his fault. Well, of course, it's not per se his fault, but you recall the previous play, he checked off at the line of scrimmage. Carolina got up in a fake blitz. He changed the play. They backed out of the blitz. But Wendell Davis beat his man down the sideline anyway, and Jeff overthrew him. That would have been a touchdown, clearly, if he had just gotten the ball to Wendell Davis. It puts, though, LSU in a difficult situation where Carolina can blitz the next play. They sack him, so the big loss indirectly, perhaps, is at least attributable partly to his poor pass to Davis.
And here's Anthony for Carolina, overthrowing Franklin.
What I'm telling you, John, is that when you have the opportunity to score those touchdowns the way that he did to Davis, you've just got to convert it. That's very, very important in any sport, and football is no exception.
2nd and 10.
Darrell Phillips was back there harassing the passer as Anthony was running left and trying to get the ball off to Franklin. 2nd down and 10. The Tar Heels are at their 34. We have less than a minute to play in the first half. It's a 13-13 game. Screen pass out here, badly thrown, intended for Lott, who has scored both the touchdowns today for Carolina. 3rd down and 10. Good rush there by the Tigers.
Had a good play by Michael Brooks. Lott was open, and he was wide open, but Anthony couldn't see around Brooks. LSU had 4 people rushing, and Brooks jumped up in his face where he couldn't see where to throw the ball, and he had to try to throw it around Brooks. In so doing, he missed Lott, at least far enough where Lott couldn't get to the football.
3rd and 10. The Tar Heels have the ball at their 34. Score is tied 13-13. That's Anthony up the middle. Humes with the ball. First down at the 45. Good play. Spilled by number 25, James Pearson. 2-3 yards back down the field. And Humes has been a big play man today for these people from Chapel Hill.
And Humes is the same type of back as Dalton Hilliard. Here you see him, he circles out of the backfield, catches the pass, and then turns that into the first down all by himself.
Humes drops this pass to the left on first down, and so it's going to be 2nd and 10. Kevin Anthony, the Phi Beta Kappa quarterback for North Carolina, has completed 14 passes, has tried 24. Wickersham has completed 12 out of 18. So their performances would be comparable today. 2nd and 10.
And both have thrown the ball well. I think LSU has probably tried to throw it as much as Carolina. It's just that Jeff Wickersham has not been able to get rid of some of them because of the pass rush.
From the Tar Heel 45, Anthony has the ball and retreats. Wilson chasing, Barbay chasing, throws it out of bounds. Roberts ended up closest to him. Notice Toby Caston, who was hurt earlier, is back in the game. That's a good sign for LSU. Third down and 10. Anthony owns 10 passing records at North Carolina. Wickersham at LSU owns 9. And behind some real outstanding people, Anthony calls timeout.
Called by the
34 seconds remain to be played in the first half.
Third quarter scores Maryland
and the score at this juncture, North Carolina 13
State 7
and LSU 13.
No score first quarter. Wake Forest.
34 seconds left in the first half. Carolina with a third down and 10 yards to go, and Anthony apparently didn't like what he saw when he came to the line of scrimmage. This is really a pretty pivotal play, John, because if Carolina can get the ball down within field goal range, they've got a legitimate chance to go in at halftime ahead 16-13. But if Anthony makes the mistake, if he gets sacked or gets a pass intercepted, LSU ends up with possession in good field position.
LSU fans should mark down Saturday, September 21st, LSU's home opening date with Colorado State, because it's being featured at the Baton Rouge Godshaw stores as LSU Day. From 10:30 until noon on the 21st, the downtown Godshaws will have as guests Bob Broadhead, Skip Bertman, the baseball coach, tennis coaches Jerry Simmons and Phil Campbell, women's basketball coach Sue Gunter. From 12:30 until 2, the same LSU personalities will be at the Cortana Mall Godshaw store. Godshaws will be also giving away LSU yearbooks, game programs, Hilliard for Heisman posters, LSU Tiger tracks at both stores. The stores also will be holding drawings at each store for 4 free tickets to the LSU Florida game. The 21st is the date at Godshaws. Third down and 10. The Tar Heels at their 45 and throwing. Anthony to Winfield, not good. Winfield got a bump from behind just as the ball got there from 57, Sean Burks. 4th down, and Barnhart will be punting. Errol Owens, number 1, is backing up for LSU. Errol Owens is a freshman from Beaumont, Texas, 6'2", 190-pounder. Has the good speed. He's standing back at the 17. The Tigers rush and almost block the kick. Owens, fair catch at the 19.
John, there's a flag on the play, and LSU is going to be penalized. They had too many men on the field, and when I say too many, they had about 15 or 16 when the ball was snapped, but actually only 12 of them were in the vicinity of the ball. They had sent people in to try to block the punt, and those that had to come out of the game didn't get the signal until well after sufficient time to get off the field.
That's what you call Tiger arithmetic.
That's what you call it. I think they'd have been better off if they had just kept all 15 of them in the game and tried to play like it was 11. Would have had a better chance of blocking the punt for sure.
That signal with the hand across the chest is substitution.
Illegal substitution. Receiving team has been declined.
Which has been declined by the Tar Heels.
Okay, you have the story, and it's first down LSU at the Tiger 19 with 23 seconds left to play in the first half. A tie game, 13-13. Both teams have sputtered quite a bit in this first half today. Out of the huddle, Wendell Davis, 82
First and 10 at the 20.
to the left, and Raji McGee, number 80 to the right, and Wickersham is down under. Gives the ball to Hilliard.
Hilliard carries.
It takes a bunch of people to bring him down, but they do. Timeout LSU with 15 seconds to go in the half.
Gain of 2.
The ball is out to the 21-yard line, and LSU is going to talk things over as Wickersham goes over and is engaged in conversation with the offensive coordinator for LSU.
I suppose they're trying to figure out whether to just throw it up down there and see if they can get close enough for a field goal, or perhaps see if they can come up with a lucky play for the touchdown.
Well, Ed Zornbecker has given them the word, and so Wickersham is back around the LSU players, and we'll know the answer to what the strategy is in just a moment or two.
I've always loved working on computers, and in the Army, that's what I do. I set up networks, I troubleshoot, I basically do things I would have never dreamed I'd been able to do before.
If you never thought about the U.S. Army or Army Reserve, think about this. There are 212 ways for you to become a soldier and work at a job you'll love. Call for this free video to find out which job is right for you.
I'd never really thought of the Army as a choice.
Your free video will also give you an idea of what Army life is like, how you can earn money for college, even what questions to ask your recruiter.
I'm going to walk away with a lot of memories, a lot of friends, and something that's going to change me for the rest of my life.
Call the number on the screen right now and discover the 212 ways you can be an Army of One.
If you would ask me a year ago if I'd be here doing this, I could have never imagined it. I love what I do. I love doing it for the Army.
Starr is the deep man, number 32 in the end zone. The ball drops off the tee, and DeFrank comes out to replace it in the tee, and we're about set to go for the final 30 minutes of action. Across the field, something's interesting right at the top of the picture. The referee is having a discussion with Arnsparger, or vice versa. I imagine that it's Coach Arnsparger having a discussion with the referee. It's right up to the left of the 50-yard line, right at the top of the picture. Now that discussion breaks up.
One of those things I bet they're talking about is what are you going to do if the same things happen to what happened to Rob Cutbirth last time, because he wants to make those officials aware about those blocks on the kickoff so that they can keep injuries from occurring.
Now we're set. The final 30 minutes of play. We're starting the second half. It's a tie game. LSU appears to be the stronger team, but Carolina has breakaway possibilities. DeFrank kicks off, and Starr takes it in on the run on the 7. Steams ahead to the 26, and is upended by Harris. Mickey Harris from Mandeville, 205-pound sophomore.
Lewis, number 32.
At Mandeville, they're having a big gathering at the Holiday Inn. Well, not at Mandeville, but at Covington, where a lot of the Tammany Tigers are watching today's game, and we hope they're enjoying it. First down and 10 yards to go. Somebody's offside. Franklin, I think, jumped off prematurely, and that pulled Barbay.
Dead ball! Illegal procedure! Offense!
It'll be first and 15 after the 5-yard penalty.
Carolina is starting their first offensive series of this half the same way LSU started their first offensive series of the first half, of the last half, and in pretty much the same place on the field. Don't know if the results are going to be the same, but LSU can put some pressure now. First and 15 for North Carolina right at the beginning of the second half.
Nicky Hazard has replaced Caston at linebacker for LSU. And here's a run up the middle for about 6 yards by Brad Lopp. Caston comes back in. Henry Thomas makes the tackle. They say at the 28-yard line. 2nd and 9 yards to go. Back to throw, does up the middle to Franklin. Burks has him, and he has help on the tackle, but it's a Carolina first down. That was Sancho helping from the outside, number 52, after Burks rode Franklin down. Shy of the first down, but Franklin pulled ahead and got the first down up to the Carolina 33. Now that's the kind of effort Carolina has been giving us throughout the game. Periodically, not steadily, but periodically, and it's helped the Tar Heels.
And they have overcome that 5-yard penalty, and that's very, very significant.
An I formation. LSU moving around on the line with a 4-man front, and here's a pass out this way. Winfield One-on-one. Guidry gets him at the 41-yard line. There's a 3-yard gain. Kevin Guidry played the full year last year as a freshman from Lake Charles, and he has developed into one of the fine cornerbacks in the SEC. It's second down 7. The Tar Heels at their 41. Still tied. That's Kevin Anthony. I'll tell you, making a 3.97 average on a 4-point system is pretty good going, and he's in economics and psychology.
Humes carries.
Humes is upended, and the first man to cut him down is Sean Burks. He's got him off balance and took his feet right off the ground. Well, that's the quickest way to stop a man. He gains a yard. Third down, 6.
Gain of 2 to the 43.
John Humes is the kind of player that needs an opportunity to run. He needs some room to operate in. He's not big. He doesn't run over people. He's shown a couple of times this game, if you give him a little seam, he can make use of it, but he's got to get that seam first.
Greg Jackson is a new safety man for LSU, and here comes Anthony back to throw. Pumps once. He'll have to hurry. He's sacked. Breaking off a block behind the line was Barbay. And he got through Darrell Hamilton, the right tackle for North Carolina, just like a breeze, and that's the Tigers' premier defensive play of the day.
And John, what made this play is that downfield, Arnold Franklin was trying to pick in LSU secondary James Pearson off of the man he was covering, Winfield, going across the field. Pearson did a great job of fighting through, and Anthony had no one to throw to.
Fourth down from the 34. Good kick by Barnhart. Owens from the 23. There he goes. He's at the 40. He's at the 50. He's got 10 more. He's still going to the 30. Great return, but we have a flag back at the point of the run back. And it may be that a clip will be called against LSU. We'll check it.
John, you're almost always going to have a penalty against the receiving team. Haven't seen anything yet they could have called a penalty on. All the blocks were above the waist. Didn't see any clips. Here, though, you're going to see an example of something I'm sure the coaches will talk about. Kevin Guidry was running out in front of Darrell Owens. The penalty is a holding penalty, and of course that's against a return team, and it'll nullify the return. You saw Kevin Guidry was out in front of Owens, and when you see that on a punt return, it's important that that player turn around and block the people coming up behind, because otherwise you nullify the opportunity to allow your punt returner to operate in any free room.
I think the infraction was called against Sean Burks because it was he who was very vociferous in his reaction there. And that nullifies about a 43 to 44-yard punt return by Darrell Owens. The ball is back at the 18, first down LSU. James to the 20. Paul Carr makes the stop at the 20-yard line.
Gary James with only 3 rushing attempts in the first half for 54 yards, and one of those was that long gainer on the pitch. That time, it's really the first time in this ball game he's gotten the ball to run inside. Didn't make that much, just got 2 or 3 yards, but that may be one of the adjustments LSU has made.
Tigers get out to the 25 this time. Wickersham hits another one. And that's Wendell Davis who catches that one, a short gain. But give Wendell Davis a little daylight and he could be gone on you. This time up to the 25-yard line, and it's third down and 3. The series started back at the LSU 18. The game is still tied up at 13 apiece. Wickersham with time. First down, that's Andrews. Throwing principally under the coverage. But he's tackled by Norris Davis, the Reston, Virginia 208-pounder, and Wickersham hit the needle.
And John, here's the quick underneath type pass to the tight end. Andrews just went down about 5 yards and he looked for that place. He tried to settle in the soft place in the zone. Wickersham reads it, throws it to the open spot, and lets Andrews go after it.
First down from the 34. And Hilliard, who has been stopped in the lane today, picks up a yard or 2. Notice that the players are a little more active and a little more involved in the game now on both sides of the ball, because we're getting a little jawing between the two teams on blocks and attempted blocks and so on. 2nd down and 7 at the 37-yard line. LSU with the ball, a tie game, 13-13. Wickersham, bootleg pass. Hits Andrews, short of a first down at the 40-yard line. Well, again, McGee was way down here in the moonlight, far to the left. He was just alone. Nobody had seen him. And Wickersham threw the ball to the other side on a planned situation. Maybe McGee will get it this time.
He sure has done a good job when he had an opportunity to get it at any time during this ball game.
3rd and 4. The Tigers are at their 40. Wickersham. A low pass to Wendell Davis. 4th down. Flag on the play.
Flag, and it looks like a holding call, and that is what it is.
That will bring up 4th down. I'm sure that the infraction and the resulting penalty will be declined. And here's the referee.
Holding! Offense! Decline!
That brings up the punting situation. And so DeFrank comes in to punt. DeFrank, who has the great leg, really hasn't hit one right on the seam today. If he does and the nose turns over, it could go a country mile. Larry Griffin is backed up. He's not expecting a long kick. He's standing at his 28-yard line. And that is only 32 yards down the field. Frank, after bobbling, hits a tail dragger that's bouncing LSU style to the 20-yard line.
LSU escaped that time, John. The Tigers really have not been very effective on the kicking game. The only positive thing really that you've seen on the kicking game this entire game so far has been Darrell Owens' punt return a few moments ago, which was nullified, though, by the holding penalty. LSU's punting game has been very ineffective. In the first half, DeFrank averaged only 32.5 yards on 4 kicks. As you recall, Mickey Guidry bobbled the snap on the extra point that would have put LSU ahead, and so overall, the kicking game just has not been very kind to the Tigers, and that's something that Coach Orensbarger is very, very adamant about. He needs a good kicking game.
Anthony LaFranklin, tackled by Burks. The gain is about 7 yards, maybe 8 yards in length.
Gain of 8 yards. 2nd and 2 at the 28.
Next week, the Tigers entertain Colorado State. Kickoff time, 7 o'clock Central Time, Tiger Stadium. 2nd down, 3. Around the 28-yard line. North Carolina with the ball. It's a tie game. That's Humes in motion. Lopp with the ball up the middle. Stopped by Burks and company. On the left side, Wilson or Barbie. And Clapp, number 97, is in the game now and has a piece of the tackle. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of Louisiana State University and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of the audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Louisiana State University is prohibited. Anthony to throw on 3rd and 3. Almost a great catch by Winfield. By Eric Streeter, number 25. Got in front of the LSU defender, and the pass is just a little short. Anthony didn't put the mustard on that one. 4th down and 3, and Tommy Barnhart comes in to punt. In the first half, Barnhart's punting average was 36 yards. DeFrank's was 32.5. Great kick here, though. Owens from the 25. Reverses field and runs into one of the new defenders on the field, a special team player, Antonio Goss. 45-yard kick and 1st down for LSU at the 27-yard line.
Later, please report to gate 2.
Carolina's had the ball twice here in the 3rd quarter and has had to punt. LSU now from its 27. Bootleg action again. Wickersham stumbles and is sacked. And again, Burton and Tim Goad. Tim Goad is 76 and Burton is 97. And so Wickersham is sacked again.
John, there's no real good reason to allow that to happen. That's a play-action fake, a rollout. As you saw, Wickersham made a running fake and rolled to the right. He does that to give himself more time and also to hold down the rush. But LSU didn't have anybody open downfield. He just had to eat the ball and in the process take about a 6-yard loss.
2nd and 16, Wickersham straight drop back. Up the middle. Oh, ball is batted down by Tim Goad. That's the same type of thing or comparable type thing that happened early in the game, which led to the North Carolina touchdown. After Fagan's interception, right at the beginning of the game, at a run back to the LSU 13, Lott scored from the 2 and Learmas converted. Then James had a 42-yard run to set up Hilliard for a touchdown run as Wickersham goes back to throw. Here's his pass. McGee is open. They finally see him, and he's got a first down and a big one at the North Carolina 44-yard line. 3 times today, McGee has been open, and this time Hilliard muscles the ball right to him.
And this is just a good job of Jeff. You see him looking to the right, and then he looks back and sees McGee. LSU sent 4 people down deep, and Carolina had only 3 deep defenders, and the 4 receivers just split those seams. Everybody got in the seam, and McGee was wide open in that seam on the left hash.
First down at the Carolina 44-yard line. LSU now with great field position in a tie game. The Tigers to the air again. Lateral pass. That's Hilliard with the ball. About 7 yards. And he's tackled by Goad and others for North Carolina. Then after the score was tied in the first quarter 7-7, you'll recall that North Carolina had an 84-yard drive that stopped at the Tiger 1 as LSU came up with a 4-down goal line stand. It was a beauty. And Wickersham fumbled the snap from center. Carolina recovered at the 5, and then Anthony tossed the pass to Lopp, and Carolina was back on top 13-7. Hilliard to the left side. Short game stopped by Carr and Davis. Then after that Carolina touchdown, the Tigers came right back. A 12-yard pass. Wickersham to McGee kept an 80-yard drive, and as in the case of the Tar Heels, the Tigers' point after attempt was fouled up, and so we have a 13-13 game. 3rd down and 3 at the 37. Tar Heel territory. Tigers with it. Wickersham with a lot of time. Incomplete. Intended for Davis and almost intercepted by Larry Griffin. Andrews was open deep.
And John, on the 3rd down and very short yardage, Jeff was trying to go deeper down the field than he actually had to, but there really were no receivers who were available that could have caught the ball any shorter. The Tigers have open receivers.
Ron Lewis is going to try his first 3-pointer of the year. In practice this year, he's kicked a 59-yarder. This would be a 54-yard try. Ron Lewis kicks it. It's on the way. It's good. The Tigers lead by 3 points. 54 yards, and that will tie the Tiger field goal record for distance. Timeout in the game. The score is 13 for North Carolina and 16 for the Tigers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Bell.
And I'm Kevin Hensley.
And we hope you're enjoying the many football preview specials airing this summer right here on College Sports Southeast.
But on Monday, July 30th, College Sports Central returns with the most up-to-date college sports news.
That's right. College Sports Central will come to you from the Winfrey Hotel in Birmingham the week of July 30th, site of the SEC Football Media Day.
So join us for the return of College Sports Central starting on July 30th, 6:30 and 10 o'clock Central Time here on College Sports Southeast.
The surgery went fine. Grandma just needed a chance to recover. Her doctor wanted to keep her for a couple of more days, but the HMO wouldn't pay for it, and we didn't have the money. But she wasn't well enough to go home. The next day she was so sick we had to rush her back to the hospital. Now they aren't sure if she's gonna make it. The waiting is agony. Why did this have to happen?
This didn't have to happen. I'm Archie Lamb.
Don't you think your doctor should have the final say in your family's medical decisions? Join us now in the fight for sensible HMO reform.
And against Colorado State, John, if the Tigers can come away with a win today, certainly they will be heavily favored next week. I think there's no question they're going to be heavily favored anyway, but this LSU team is capable of going into the Florida game later this season with an excellent opportunity at being ranked very high in the national rankings.
Here's the kickoff. It goes down to the goal line. Stahl has a pirouette and is down at the 25.
And John, checking in the record book, Ronnie Lewis's kick is a new LSU distance record. Juan Roca's was a 53-yard field goal, and Ronnie Lewis just broke that. And remember, he's just a sophomore, came in last year about mid-season, and went 5 for 7 in field goals, made all of his extra points, and really has been an asset in the LSU kicking game, and he'll be around for an awful long time. Fine kick, and congratulations to Ronnie Lewis.
16-13. And those remarks come from an old field goal kicker of a few years back. Anthony to throw again. Great catch by Franklin for a 7-yard gain. He caught that one off balance. Well, there's your practically your picture-perfect tight end, so they say in North Carolina. You'll see him here catch one off balance. Anthony was being pressured by Brooks.
John Franklin does this quite often. By that I mean he will settle about 6 to 8 yards into the secondary, and there's so much speed in Carolina's outside receivers. LSU's got to respect that and get deep drops.
2nd and 3. Humes bangs ahead for the first down. Nothing but straight power. North Carolina's throwing the ball a lot this year is surely atypical for Tar Heel teams, because in the past Carolina has been able to boast of a lot of great tailbacks. We mentioned Bryant earlier and a bunch of others who have been 1,000-yard plus running backs at tailback for North Carolina, and therefore the running game was concentrated on here. Brooks backs down the pass. Intended for Humes off to the left.
Well, John, this Carolina team started very, very slowly last season, and about mid-season it became apparent they were not going to be able to run well, and so they went to the passing game. This is one of the type plays that they have used effectively against LSU, because the Tigers have not done this effectively. Michael Brooks with a good pass rush. If you get to the quarterback, if you put pressure on Anthony, as Navy did last week, you're going to come up with some of those big plays, and that's one thing LSU has got to do, is get some pressure on Anthony so he doesn't have time to get the ball downfield.
By the way, that last first down made by North Carolina, that run by Humes, this is Lott carrying, just kind of crawling ahead, picks up about 7 yards, slowed by Brooks and stopped by Carrier. They say at the 42-yard line. Was that last run by Humes earlier for a first down, represented the only first down the Tar Heels have had here in the second half. LSU's only had 2, but the Tigers have a field goal. Third down, about 3 to go for the first down. The Tar Heels are at their 42. LSU with a 3-point lead. That was almost intercepted. Flag behind the line of scrimmage at the point of the passer. We may have roughing the passer, or could it be against North Carolina? That pass was almost intercepted by Toby Caston. Rounding by the passer, Anthony. That calls for a penalty and loss of down. So that'll bring up 4th down.
Well, John, LSU's doing now what needed to be done. You see Michael Brooks at the top, and William Humes just is not capable of blocking him. He just ran right around Humes as if he were not there. He forced Anthony to get rid of the football in an area where there was no receiver at all. LSU almost intercepted, and that would have been a touchdown, but as it was, backs up Carolina with the loss of down. 4th down, about 22 yards to go. A big punting down, and LSU has come to life defensively, and particularly in the pass rush.
Point of the down, the 24. Barnhart kicks. Very nice kick. Goes to Owens at the 33, losing yardage. It was a 43-yard kick, and minus yardage on the return to about the 29-yard line. And benefit tackle to Troy Simmons. Harold Owens, as you watch Coach Arnsparger cheering his charges on, Owens does not get the big run back on which he had depended, or had anticipated at least. Here's a slot formation to the left against the four-man line. Wickersham has gone all the way, pitches out. Gary James is on the line. He can go out there.
Pitch out is to Gary James.
Pressure from Tim Morrison, number 28, who may have had some contact after the play got out of the field of play. It's Gary James going back, and so they're marking it down to about the 39-yard line, which means first down.
John, that's that good play. LSU's run that play 3 times this game. That was the same one that James gained the big yardage on in the first half. He picked up about 8 on another carry in the first half, and here he picks up a first down, and they should just go back over and over and make Carolina stop it.
There's Hooker on the line. He's getting 10, out of bounds, another first down, this time at the Tar Heel 49-yard line. He's chased off the field by 37, Derek Donald from Lenore, North Carolina. But the Madison, Louisiana native is the man who really put on the steam burner to the outside. He's shot of that stadium. I told you about the pine trees and the stadium not being allowed to be built above the level of the tops of the trees. First down at the Carolina 49. The counter through the middle. James has nowhere to go. Well, Carolina has been able to really successfully so far clog up the middle against the LSU running game.
Well, they really have taken away LSU's basic running plays. The Tigers have not been able to mount a consistent running game, but they've come up with enough big plays to score 16 points. But to do that, John, they've had to kind of take some chances. They've run some plays they normally have not run, and they've had to throw the ball in situations where they wouldn't have to.
Second and 19. Fine catch by Gary James and a heavy hit put on him by Brett Rudolph.
Tackle by Brett Rudolph.
Ball is at the Tar Heel 43.
5 to the 43.
It's third down and 4.
Third and 4.
LSU appears to be a much more polished team here in the second half than in the first half today. Third down and 4. Wickersham wants to check off, and we have a delay in the game, and there's a flag thrown.
John, the flag's going to be against LSU.
Dead ball, illegal procedure, offense.
John, what you're seeing, Carolina 5 or 6 times in the ball game so far, and they draw the same response from Jeff Wickersham every time. They will line up in an obvious blitz defense. Jeff Wickersham will call a pass play at the line of scrimmage to counteract the blitz. Carolina will back out of the blitz defense. Several times, Wickersham has had people open anyway and completed the pass. But there's kind of a game of cat and mouse, and that time the left guard moved his hand during the process of the play being changed, and that's a penalty.
Third and 9, and here is a completion to James, but for short yardage. And again, Raji McGee was the man who went deep, and Wickersham throwing to the short man is now 20 out of 30.
Ball at the Tar Heel 44.
For the first time, here's Keith Murray, freshman in the punt. He is from Theodore, Alabama, and a kicking average of over 45 yards a kick in high school, and is trying out for the punting spot here for LSU. Let's see what he does with it. One-step kicker. Ball is bouncing at the 20, and back to the 17-yard line. Well, he didn't get the long yardage out of it. Really wasn't looking for the long yardage, but he did make good contact on his first collegiate kick. North Carolina starts off from the Tar Heel 17. The Tar Heels have been bottled up pretty much. They have one first down here in the second half.
Well, LSU started to do some things defensively that they weren't doing in the first half. Also, they've gotten a much more effective pass rush, and Anthony's taking a little bit closer look. He goes back there, and people are all over him right now.
Tigers in a widely set three-man line. Here's a running play coming this way, and Brooks tackles the ball carrier from behind, coming all the way around. It's Brad Lopp who feels the muscle of big Michael Brooks.
John, he's just trying to prove to you that he still hasn't found anybody his age who knows how to block him. And he's been looking almost the whole game.
Well, that's a comment of confidence, isn't it?
It sure is.
Nobody my age can block me.
I used to say the same thing almost, but what I said was that I don't know of anybody my age that I can block.
Well, you were on the other end of the stick. You were catching more passes and kicking the ball more. There's a timeout on the field. We have 38 seconds to go in the third quarter, and I'm not sure what occasion the timeout, but North Carolina has called it, and Anthony wants to talk to Dick Crum and the North Carolina assistants on the near side, and there is Anthony. Don't forget that next week our Tiger Vision coverage continues with the Tigers versus Colorado State, a game which has been on the LSU schedule for a good many seasons and is just now coming to bear some fruit in the matter of competition between these two teams. Colorado State was beaten in its opening game last week. North Carolina last year won 4 of its last 5 games and also won its opening game this year. Second down, 10 yards to go. The Tar Heels are at their 17 as we get back to action. Look at those Tigers in that defensive line. It's a strong group. Screen pass, Lopp drops it. Well, discretion is the better part of valor, as Brad Lopp would have been just mutilated by Sean Burks had he taken possession of the ball, and I'm sure he heard the big footsteps.
And I think the ball got tipped anyway by Michael Brooks. He went in there with no one to block him. That's who Lopp normally would block, and Lopp was out in the pass pattern. And I think Brooks tipped the ball and made it wobble a little bit. 3rd and 10 for 17. Carolina feeling the effects of the Tigers' big muscle game. Here's a long pass overthrown to Winfield. Winfield was trying to get up the middle, and he was indeed between Pearson and Carrier in the Tiger secondary, but Anthony hurried the pass, and it's 4th down. John, you can tell an awful lot of difference in Carolina's passing game since the Tigers have started getting pressure, because Anthony, he can't sit back there anymore and take his time to throw it. He's getting rid of it quick.
Barnhart kicks one, and Owens is going to let it drop, and is bouncing back inside the 40 to the 39. 44 yards on that kick. So first down, the Tigers at their 39. And 4 punts in this half, and 9 all during the game for Carolina. LSU's punted 5 times in the game. Sometimes you can get a pretty good reading on defensive work based on the number of punts. Short one up the middle by the Tigers as Hilliard carries up to the 42.
3 yards.
Mostly today, the men from Carolina sort of had the eye on Dalton Hilliard. Timeout on the game. End of the third quarter, 16-13 LSU.
There was a time when a handshake was more than a gesture. When a hard day's work was a hard day's work. And folks took their time to do things the right way. Around here, we didn't forget. Gold-Kissed Farms chicken. Nothing's fresher than getting it from a farmer.
I'm Andy Jacob. Afraid that you're paying so much interest on your bad credit loan that you'll be in debt forever? Then call me right now for The Promise, Loan Giant's new Rate Buster program that promises homeowners payments at 8.5% or less. You heard right. We promise that your payments will be 8.5% or less even if your credit's bad by calling the number on your screen.
Call 800-305-9533.
Now, Hilliard, we said that North Carolina has had an eye on him all day. That's true because he's had a ball a lot of times inside, Doug, on which he's not made any yards. But he's only 4 yards away from getting 100 today because he had some big plays earlier. 3rd and 10, Wickersham to throw. Here it goes, that's James, he's got it, and he's down inside the Carolina 30. First down, the Tigers. James has been a valued receiver today for the Tigers. And Wickersham just lofted the ball exactly where it needed to be.
John, this is a real tough pass to throw. You see James circling out of the backfield. He is going to be passing a linebacker, and the ball's got to be dumped over the top of that linebacker. He then makes the catch, and the safety is coming over to make the hit. James was anticipating that. Otherwise, he could have kept his balance and scored the touchdown.
Hilliard carries.
Hilliard around the left side, running hard, and he is down after a substantial gain of, it appears to be about 9 yards. He's hit by Carl Carr, the senior outside linebacker for the men from Chapel Hill. The play ends at the 17-yard line, and it's 2nd down and 1 yard to go. The Tigers had possession at their 39, and here in the second half, LSU has been much the stronger team and is operating with a little more grease on their joints. Here's James running to the right side to the 10. Pulled down by Derek Donald by the shoulder pads inside the 10-yard line.
And John, that's that play again. That's what I believe the 4th time that LSU has run it. And it almost scored for him, still went for the 1st down, but the Tigers are getting excellent blocking. That time Wendell Davis and Raji McGee in the slot, excellent blocking, and the Tigers are pulling the lead side tackle, and Gary James with his great speed can get outside.
On that previous 9-yard run to the other side, after the long pass completion to James, Hilliard got 9 and has 103 yards in this game today. There's a pass to Hilliard, he's at the 5, spinning to the 3. Nice play, running left. Wickersham just sort of shoveled the ball up to Hilliard, and he is pulled down by Larry Griffin. But at the 3-yard line, as the Tigers bump ever closer, already ahead by 3, LSU's strength is now, we think, beginning to tell rather perceptibly. The remaining back is Hilliard. Rathjen is the wing back to the right, and there's Gary James in motion, and he's now the up back. Here's Hilliard. He'll get one here. Touchdown, LSU. Hilliard scores again. And that's his 2nd touchdown of this game. And he's bearing down on the all-time scoring championship at LSU. And we show officially 106 yards rushing in this game today and 2 touchdowns. In spite of the fact he hasn't had what he considers the big outstanding day, it still is more than adequate. Ron Lewis is going to kick the point after. The kick is good, and we have a time here as the game is now in control of the Tigers. We have 12:20 to go. LSU leads 23-13.
April 15th has come and gone again, and you still have a tax problem. Don't be another IRS victim. The IRS is now reconciling back-owed taxes, levies, liens, payroll taxes, even penalties. The law offices of Ronnie Deutsch can end your IRS tax nightmare for only pennies on the dollar. What are you waiting for? Settle your IRS problems for pennies on the dollar.
For a free tax analysis, call the law offices of Ronnie Deutsch at 800-650-5149.
If there was one product or service whose praises I would sing, it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's been a lifesaver for me. I never would have thought I would get cancer at age 30. I would have thought that I would never do a commercial, but if by someone my age being in a health insurance commercial made one young person say, you know what, I probably need to have that. That would be a nice thing. I would say not only get health insurance, but be sure it's Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Next Saturday, live on Tiger Vision. Our pregame program airs at 6:40 p.m. and the kickoff of the LSU Colorado State game will occur at 7 o'clock. We hope you'll join Doug and Jordy and me from Tiger Stadium. And the place really should be jumping because it'll be the opening game of the 1985 season in Tiger Stadium. One of the most exciting places to play football in all of the world. There's a kickoff that goes outside the end zone, and Ron Lewis is the man who did that. Sort of a line drive kick. It was followed by Norris Davis, and you don't want the ball to go beyond the end line, but it goes out near the pylon, and the touchback causes the ball to be in possession of North Carolina at the Tar Heel 20-yard line. That last Tiger drive was 61 yards in length, and the payoffer was a 3-yard run by Hilliard behind Gary James. Carolina has been pretty well shut down here in the second half. Anthony throws. Streeter has. And he gets the better part of 10 yards. It'll be 2nd and 1. James Pearson over there, and also Oliver Lawrence, number 99, the first call we've had for him today. Oliver Lawrence is a freshman from Monroe, and he and Eric Hill are destined to be two of the outstanding linebackers at LSU in future seasons. 2nd down, 1 play. Remaining back runs into the quarterback and still gets a first down. Brad Lopp. And Anthony decides that they would kiss and make up behind the line of scrimmage. But Lopp breaks it all up, and he says, I can't handle this anymore, and I'll get the first down, and he does. 3 first downs in this half by Carolina. The Tar Heels move from their 32. They're down by 10, 23 to 13. The Tigers seem to be getting better all the time. That's a new running back. Brad Sullivan, number 36 at fullback, hit by Ron Sancho at the 39. He looked pretty good running the ball, Doug.
He's just a freshman. He is also limping. Doesn't look like he was seriously injured. I think he just got a bruise, but William Humes is coming in to take his place. But he looked good running that way, but he's not running as well right now as he did on the play, though.
Streeter left and Winfield right. LSU in a 3-down lineman formation, and Anthony is going to throw quickly. Out here to Lopp. One-on-one tackle performed by Jimmy Pearson, number 25. He gets the first down.
Plenty of time left in the game, John. 11 minutes, 1 second remaining. Tigers ahead 23 to 13, and Carolina has made a couple of first downs, and they seem content to go ahead and throw the ball short, to just move the ball down the field. And of course, they should be content to do that with that amount of time left. LSU is going to have to put some pressure again on Anthony and maybe do something different defensively.
From the Carolina 43, it's first down, and here's a pass that's knocked down at the line of scrimmage, I think by Carl Wilson. 2nd and 10. Wilson is a full-grown man. So is Michael Brooks. So is Roland Barbay. Anthony, by the way, now is 18 out of 35 in the year. Wickersham is 22 out of 32. 2nd down, 10. 23-13, LSU leads. And Anthony rolls right to throw. Has to hurry. He's got a man open. At the LSU 34. Not a bad play.
Well, John, I tell you, if you get it there at the right time, it's important. Anthony just got rid of the ball because he was getting ready to be sacked, and he knew it. Streeter had beaten Guidry, and Guidry kind of got lost and got confused. Thank goodness there was some inside help to come over there and make the tackle, but a fine catch by Streeter, and that's what that outside speed will do for you. He just ran the ball down.
Eric Streeter, number 25, picks up the first down on that reception. From the 34 in LSU territory now. This is the best performance by Carolina this half as Brooks tackles Locke. I'll tell you, if Brooks makes his move past the offensive line of scrimmage, he's in the backfield for sure, and I think he's right. Nobody blocks him.
Nobody wants to. When they try, they can't.
Second down.
Nobody wants to try.
From the LSU 33, and tackle moves. That's Harris Barton, number 67, moved, and there'll be a legal procedure. Here's the referee.
Dead ball! Illegal procedure! Offense!
Legal procedure against the Tar Heels.
Won't it be exciting next week to be in Tiger Stadium and watch the LSU cheerleaders and the Tiger Band, directed by Frank Wicks. That's 7 penalties for 52 yards for North Carolina in the game. Second down from the 38-yard line. Anthony to throw. And is locked. Short gain, Wehighs, an open field tackle for 35. Brings the play to a conclusion right there, and it's going to be 3rd down and 11.
And that's a good play by Steve Rehots. He just kept Lopp in front of him, got him around the legs, and just wasn't going to let go. He knew he had help coming up from the secondary, and his job was just to slow Lopp down enough to let people come in and help.
I noticed that Coach Arnsparger and his staff are bringing in a lot of young players whenever possible. Jackson, number 25, came in, and we have a timeout called again by North Carolina. There's a panoramic view of the entire stadium here. Kennan Stadium on the campus of the University of North Carolina. Timeout in the game. The score is Tigers 23 and Carolina 13.
Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Bell.
And I'm Kevin Hensley.
And we hope you're enjoying the many football preview specials airing this summer right here on College Sports Southeast.
But on Monday, July 30th, College Sports Central returns with the most up-to-date college sports news.
That's right. College Sports Central will come to you from the Winfrey Hotel in Birmingham the week of July 30th, site of the SEC Football Media Days.
So join us for the return of College Sports Central starting on July 30th, 6:30 and 10 o'clock Central Time here on College Sports Southeast.
This lady and her husband paid their life insurance premiums on time for 40 years. When she lost him last fall, the insurance company tried to deny her the benefits and security she had paid for. Who could she turn to? Archie Lamb has earned his reputation helping people like this, working to make sure that the people of Alabama are heard.
Unfortunately, this happens all too often in Alabama. I'm Archie Lamb, and if this happens to you, call me. I can help.
By James Pearson.
On the first play back, North Carolina with the pass completion, of course, they had the big play, and Winfield just caught a short pass on the left side, not enough for the first down, 4th down and 6. And so Carolina is going to line up and go for the field goal, down 23-13. The field goal, a touchdown and 2 points, of course, puts them in the lead.
Miller missed one last week, and he kicks one here, and it's going to be off to the right and no good. 6-yard try, so Miller is 0 for 2 for the year. The score remains 23-13 LSU, and the Tigers have the ball at their 30.
LSU now with the opportunity to keep possession of the ball, eat up some time, and what they'd like to do, of course, is to work on that offense and get another touchdown. They really could turn this game into somewhat of a rout with a touchdown. 30-13 sounds like a game which you dominated pretty clearly. That's not been the story today. Carolina has played an excellent football game. LSU with a lot of mistakes to hurt themselves.
Little screen to the left side. Hilliard has the ball with good interference in front of him. Hit from behind and fumbles. Carolina has the ball.
John, he was down.
But he was down, and they're going to give LSU the ball at the 39-yard line. It'll be a 9-yard gain.
Well, that's the rule, and the rule is very clearly spelled out this year that when any part of your body touches the ground except your foot or your hand, the ball is dead. And that's it, and that's exactly what happened. Here you're going to see a screen. LSU had a chance of making this into a big play, and the blocking didn't form correctly. But here you see Hilliard dropped the ball as he went down, and he hit, and the ball bounced away from him. Good call by the official.
Second down, 1 to go. Here's Hilliard bouncing in for the first down, up to around the 43. And let's see who makes the tackle for North Carolina. It's going to be Carl Carr again, number 58, and also Tim Goad. And I think that's about Derek McDonald may have had a hand in it too at the 43-yard line. And from that point, it's first down and 10 yards to go. We have 9 minutes to play in this game. LSU's ahead 23-13 next week in Tiger Stadium and on Tiger Vision. Right here, the Tigers in Colorado State. Here goes Hilliard. Another chance. Almost went the distance that time. Hilliard bouncing right up the middle to the 49-yard line. This is 16th 100-yard game. And it's second down and 4 yards to go.
2nd and 4.
Hilliard got a great start as a freshman, scoring 16 times. We told you about his bearing down on Charlie Alexander's scoring record at LSU. James is pulled down from behind by Ron Burton, who's played a fine game for North Carolina, number 97. And I think he shows the effects of a lot of spirited activity. He's about 6'2", but weighs 240, and he has been a real performer today, a defensive end on the right side defensively for North Carolina. Throw up to the line. Kinchin is a tight end now. Wickersham back to throw. Looking for James. Prematurely thrown. Fourth down. Wickersham was under some pressure, and Gary James was not in a position to catch the ball at the time the ball had to get there. So here comes Keith Murray in again. Now, Murray this time, Doug, has the room to really hit the ball. And he's a one-step kicker. I think you'll find this to be interesting. He's the first one-step kicker LSU's had in many years. And it's fourth down at the 48-yard line. Didn't get quite all of it. Griffin takes it. Nowhere for him to go. And he's tackled as soon as the ball gets there.
34-yard.
One of those who was down quickly under the kick was Nicky Hazard, number 48.
And John, about 34 yards on the kick, but absolutely no return. And not only no return, no chance for a return. LSU had everyone around the ball. I'm sure that the length of that kick is going to increase, but that's good enough for right now. It's a lot better than LSU's had earlier in this ball game, and Keith Murray is going to improve as he gets a little more confidence playing on the college level.
Well, when you eliminate any possibility of a run back, 34 yards is not all that bad, and here's a little swing pass up the middle. Humes has it. He's shot down by Oliver Lawrence and Walden Cager.
Tackled by Kevin.
It's about a 10-yard gain.
Well, the middle is wide open on this play. Humes, you're going to see, all he does is circle out of the backfield. LSU is trying to front cover everyone else. The linebackers really have their back turned to the ball, which is why Humes is so wide open. No one saw him circle into the middle because they were trying to put other pressure on the outside receiver.
First down at the Carolina 29. Notice Enriquez is in there, number 91, defensive lineman. Clapp is on the nose. And here is a swing pass out here to Humes, right in front of Jimmy Pearson, and that's incomplete. How do you like the Tigers' stockings?
I always like that purple. You know, I like those purple jerseys. I like the white jerseys. I think the stockings look good. I tell you, John, there's some reluctance by some of the players to wear them when you wear stockings, but these are just socks that have white on the bottom, so they're very comfortable to wear. They're no more bulky than just regular white socks, and I think the players seem to enjoy wearing them.
Second down 10. The Carolina Tar Heels at their 29. Anthony shoots it up there. That's Winfield on the 50-yard line. He's a good receiver. He kept concentrating even though he was being converged on by Pearson and by DeWitt.
Well, he's a fine player. You see him concentrate. Anthony puts the ball in the right place. DeWitt's coming over, though. Bingo. That's a good catch and a good play.
First down right in midfield. North Carolina with the ball and down by 10. Anthony again. Franklin. First down. Tackled by DeWitt. First down at the LSU 30. The Tiger defense getting a little loose, and Anthony just picking away at it. Underneath the deep coverage and off to the side of concentrated coverage in the middle on this play.
Well, he's got big Arnold Franklin, who has caught a lot of balls in this game. He's a big target, but he catches the ball exceptionally well for someone so big. He's got good hands, so you don't have to get it too close to him. He'll just bring it in.
Roberts, Barbay, and Wilson are back in the front three. There's Oliver Lawrence almost intercepting that pass. Man, did he crack Eric Lewis.
And Oliver was a tight end as well as being a linebacker in high school at Neville. And although he missed the tail end of last season because of an injury, he scored an awful lot of touchdowns as a receiver. He's got great hands and he can catch the football. In fact, he could play tight end at LSU, but he's just too valuable as a linebacker, and that's where they want him.
2nd and 10, and here's a quick pass to Winfield. He's going to go down. It's 6 yards. Mike DeWitt hangs on, and James Pearson at the 25-yard line.
5 to the 25.
3rd down and about 5.5 yards to go for a first down.
6 minutes left in the ball game. LSU is ahead 23-13, but Carolina is threatening. John, that passing game is fun to watch. They've got a lot of good, skilled people. Kevin Anthony is a fine quarterback, and he really does hang in there well.
Look at this same little play they ran earlier, ending up with little Sullivan. He's out of bounds for a first down at the 20-yard line.
John, that's the same play that LSU used to run when Carl Trimble was a tailback, and he had previously been a quarterback, so he knew how to run the option play. That's all this is just an inside handoff to the wingback, who then options it out to the I tailback, who is sweeping around behind him. It's a good play. It made the first down for Carolina on the LSU 20-yard line.
Good drive by Carolina is in progress from the Tar Heel 18. First down. Here's Anthony throwing for 6 points. Can't get it. Got their feet tangled up with each other, and so it's incomplete.
Well, you be the judge. Eric Lewis is the receiver on the right. He runs a corner pattern, and Guidry kind of gets tangled up here, and in the process, you see what he does to Lewis. They could have called it if they had wanted to, and LSU really wouldn't have had a chance to complete. Kevin Guidry's had a lonesome day out there on the corner. He's covering some mighty fast people.
Anthony to the air again, tries Sullivan, and can't get the ball to him. Lee Hodge is covering for the Tigers, number 7. Coach Arnsparger appears to be relaxed.
Well, he does. He always appears to be relaxed, but you know he's in there thinking. You know, John, one of Coach Arnsparger says, and this is very important, in professional football, the hash marks are much closer together than they are in college. So in college, you've got to defend a wide side of the field, and so it allows those fast wide receivers to roam in a big area out there on the sideline. It puts tremendous pressure on the cornerback, and coaches really don't have any response, no answer for it. You've got to do the best you can, but it's tough.
Here's a shotgun, direct snap to the quarterback, and Anthony throws complete. And Streeter is hit immediately. Ball is at the 14-yard line. Carolina has a big threat going. It's 4th down and 4 at the LSU 14. Tigers have been a little porous defensively in this drive, but Carolina's been working hard. And a field goal try apparently will be coming as Kenny Miller will try. From the 20. No, it's a fake. And a throw down for a touchdown. It's incomplete. Wes Sweetster threw the ball to the end zone, And to Naaman Houston, it's incomplete, and the Tigers hold and take over. Timeout in the game. The score is we're going to skip the timeout at the 14-yard line and continue from there. On that fourth down play, that was pretty obviously a fake, and so with a new quarterback in the game, Sweetser threw the ball to the end zone, and it just was not complete as Carolina went for all the marbles.
That's kind of a strange call, though. You need the touchdown and the field goal to win the game anyway. So why not go take the field goal and then come back and try to score the touchdown later?
I agree.
Don't know, but they did it.
Pitch out to Hilliard. 6 yards on the carry.
Dalton Hilliard continues to pile up yardage. He's had a good solid day, and he's had a couple of outstanding Dalton Hilliard type runs, and those are pretty unique runs. LSU with 4:29 in the fourth quarter, second down at about 4, and John, I think the Tigers would like to have some more points, but certainly don't want to gamble very much here.
That last drive by Carolina was good for 68 yards, no points. Hilliard.
Tackle by Carlton Bailey.
Is subdued about the 22-yard line. Doing that was Noah McEachin.
White, please meet your father at the field house.
At the 22-yard line is going to be
at the field house.
Short of a first down for LSU. Third down coming up, and a good and healthy 2.5 yards to go for first down for the Tigers. Slot formation, pitch out to Gary James, who get the first down and more. He's cutting back and has enough yardage and then some to the 32-yard line for an LSU first down and 10.
John, that's the play again. North Carolina has not yet stopped that play. It's been very effective. And the reason that it's worked is because Wendell Davis and Raji McGee have blocked so effectively on the outside. The Tigers line up in a slot situation with James on the strong side of the formation. They just quick pitch it to that side, and both wide receivers have blocked superbly throughout the game on that play.
That's 22 first downs in this game for LSU. Hilliard wades ahead to the left and is stopped at the 36 by Norris Davis and others.
Tackled by Norris Davis.
Is that Ram asleep?
36.
Is the game over as far as he's concerned? That's Ramses the Sixth,
Second and 5.
who is the mascot. And it's an interesting story about how a Tar Heel has a ram for a mascot. And it's really not worth telling right now, but if we'll have time, we'll talk about it later.
Around the 36, here's Hilliard again, cutting back against the grain. Here he comes. The 45 and a first down. Number 23 in the game for LSU. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remain to be played.
Gain of 9 to the 45.
Another fine individual effort. Dalton Higgins starts out to the left. There's nothing there, and so he cuts back, and that's what he's supposed to do with his ability, and that's the way the LSU offense is designed. He picked up that first down, almost broke it for a very long yardage.
I've been wondering, there's been something odd about the Tigers throughout the game, and I want to discuss this in just a second. Gary James sweeping left on a pitch out is going to get about 10. There's a flag and maybe a clip against LSU. Number 78, Ralph Norwood in the game at tackle was out there, and he may have hit a defensive player from the back, and there's the clip signal. On some of the LSU uniforms, there's something wrong with the numerals on the back. We're having some difficulty in reading them, and they don't seem to be as big as they have been. They seem to be lower and kind of folded under the shoulder pads a little bit in some instances. Ball is placed back after the 15-yard penalty to the 35-yard line.
First down. John, I think what happened, those jerseys are just standard jerseys, and they iron on rubberized numbers. And I think that they ironed on some numbers a little bit lower than they were supposed to. I think that's what you're seeing.
And smaller, and much smaller.
They'll get that straightened out. You tell them about this.
No, I won't tell them. 21 yards to be gained, and here's first down coming up and a draw play. Hilliard gets 6. Tigers apparently are not going to do anything fancy here in the last couple of minutes. We have 2 minutes of playing time remaining in this game. Next week, the Tigers play Colorado State, home opener for the Tigers for this year. And then there's a week off, and then the Tigers entertain Florida. That will be a big game on this year's schedule. Second, 16 to go. Wickersham will throw. I was wrong about this. There's James, put down a yard short of a first down. Third down coming up, well, 11 yards to go, but a yard of getting back to where the original series began.
That's kind of a chancy pass. You know, you throw that short pass kind of out in the flat, and James was covered pretty well out there. I'm surprised, too, that the ball was at least thrown out there. I see no reason to not throw it. If you got confidence in your passing game, you throw the ball. You can control the ball in the air, and I think that's what Jeff's got to do.
3rd and 11. Pitch out to James, looking for room up the middle. Here he goes. Doesn't get the first down. It'll be 4th down and 5 from just beyond midfield in Carolina territory, and we have timeout called by Carolina.
Timeout, Carolina.
So a glance at the clock shows 52 seconds left to go in the game. And the Tiger punting unit is coming on, and Keith Murray is going to be the executor of this. We'd like to see the young fellow get one away for long yardage here.
Well, I suspect he's going to have an opportunity to get one off for long yardage very quickly, because I anticipate Carolina's going to come after. There's not much else that they can do with 52 seconds left. They're down 13 points. Unless they score a touchdown and a field goal, they're just not going to be back in the game. So you expect they're going to load their guns up and bring everybody this time.
Larry Griffin is standing at the 18-yard line waiting for the kick from Keith Murray, number 9. Well, with the bounce, still not a good kick. It wasn't what he was looking for. It comes up a little short, and it's out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Wickersham ends this drive and this previous series, and probably LSU's last of the game, hitting 23 out of 34 passes. And LSU has 23 first downs in the game. Anthony, by contrast, has completed 26 out of 48. Direct snap and the shotgun. Anthony completes another one. Out of bounds goes William Humes with the ball, 8 yards up the field, approximately. Carolina is going to bite the dust in this one today as LSU holds a 10-point lead, 23-13. This is the 10th opening game of the year on the road victory for the Tigers. Second down, about 3 from the 29. Again, the Carolina shotgun. Anthony for a lot of time, hits Humes. He shouldn't have done that. Sean Burks took a hard tumble, and I'm not sure that, well, he gets up. Humes also gets up, but did he take a big crack on a tackle?
I think Sean Burks was mad because he missed Humes. He didn't get hit. He's just mad because he missed it.
First down, Carolina. Franklin gets beneath the umbrella reception and gets 10 yards up to the 45-yard line. We're down to 19 seconds left to go in the game. Remember, next week, LSU versus Colorado State in Tiger Stadium. Our coverage will be live, beginning at 6:40. Anthony now has 29 completions out of 51 passes thrown. Another completion. Winfield, a one-handed catch. First down to the 36-yard line. 10 seconds to go in the game, and the Tar Heels are on the move. Tigers are not too terribly worried about the situation, though. Tar Heels line up and go again. Anthony rifles it up there, intercepted at the 16. That is Guidry with the ball. Humes pulls him out of bounds by the waist, and it's LSU's football and game with 1 second to play, and the Tigers will have to run one play. The offensive team comes on for the purple and gold, and the blue and white team moves on, and there's one of the stars of the game, Michael Brooks. He's had quite a day. He is a force to be reckoned with on that field defensively for LSU. So is Oliver Lawrence, Toby Caston, Sean Burks, Wilson, and Roberts, and Thomas, and Clapp, and Wickersham goes to a knee, and the game is over, and LSU has registered its first victory of 1985.
I'm a cat, Paula, and dust mite.
And Billy's a mold ragweed cat.
I'm 3.
I learned so much more about my kids' allergies after I called Zyrtec. They sent me an information package about how Zyrtec treats indoor and outdoor allergies. It also came with a $10 rebate offer on a Zyrtec prescription. And this, now they can go and play outside.
Most people with allergies have indoor allergies like mold and dust, and outdoor allergies like trees and grass. Among leading prescription antihistamines, only Zyrtec is FDA approved to treat both indoor and outdoor allergies. And Zyrtec's approved for kids as young as 2 years. Talk to your child's doctor about Zyrtec and call 888-622-5878 for your information package. $10 rebate offer plus a free gift. In studies, side effects included drowsiness, headache, sore throat, and stomachache. Most were mild or moderate. Most children weren't bothered by them enough to stop taking Zyrtec. Zyrtec. That's Zyrtec. Lots of allergies, just one Zyrtec. Starts with just one call.
In women's basketball, the big question was whether Summit would make it to the top another time. Tennessee coach Pat Summit had won championships twice before, in 1987 and 89. Again, it was an odd-numbered year, and again, her Lady Volunteers were contenders. Another contender, defending champion Stanford, had lost high-scoring Tricia Stevens. She sat with her leg in a cast for the regional final against Georgia. The Lady Bulldogs would have been a tough opponent in the best of circumstances. Watch Deborah Carter toil in traffic to earn 2 points. At this time, Georgia led 55-43. Momentum turned. Stanford came within a point on Julie Zielstra's turnaround off a pass from Sonia Henning. Here's Henning again, feeding inside to Val Whiting, who gets the basket and a foul shot. From there, Stanford began to pull away. You can see how the game is going from the reaction on the opposing sidelines. Down to the final seconds with Stanford in control, leading by 8. This steal by Georgia and the desperation shot will have no bearing on the game. Stanford and coach Tara Vanderveer on track for a repeat championship. A surprise contender this year in the women's championship was the University of Connecticut. One reason, Carrie Bascom, number 24, who drilled this 12-foot jumper in the regional final against Clemson. In a tight game, the Huskies hung on for a 3-point victory and advanced to the women's Final Four for the first time in the school's history. Tennessee faced Southeastern Conference rival Auburn in its semifinal, both sides gunning from downtown. Jody Adams for the Vols. And from the corner, Carolyn Jones for Auburn to bring her Lady Tigers to within 5 late in the game. A timely timeout by Tennessee coach Pat Summit got the Lady Vols back on track. This foul shot by Dina Head was the final nail in Auburn's coffin. Tennessee won 69-65 and achieved what they missed last year, a trip to the Final Four. Virginia played Lamar in the last regional final. Great individual effort here by Virginia's All-American Dawn Staley. And great team defense by the Lady Cavaliers. Tanya Cardoza cashed in for an easy basket. Virginia prevailed 80-75 and made it to the Final Four for the second straight year. And so it was on to New Orleans for the showdown. 4 teams fighting for the national championship. In the first semifinal, the quick hands of Virginia's Tanya Cardoza spelled trouble for the women of Connecticut. Cardoza appeared to anticipate every UConn pass. She was a player who seemed to be everywhere. UConn must have thought they were seeing double. spite of Cardozo's heroics, Connecticut stayed close on the play of their star, Carrie Bascom. But Virginia would not fold. Cardozo also came through on the foul line, and a few moments later, she ended up in the arms of Connecticut coach Gino Auriemma. Cardozo's only miscue came as the clock wound down, but by then it didn't matter. Virginia was off to the championship round. In Game 2, Stanford's title hopes received a blow when Julie Zielstra pulled a muscle in warm-ups and joined Stevens on the bench. Hard luck would have stopped the lesser team, but Stanford was out to prove a point. Point guard Sonia Henning dishes off as well as she scores. Here she finds Kelly Doherty. At halftime, Stanford led by 7. But Tennessee stormed back in the second half. Peggy Evans gets 2 points in the paint, and the Vols go up by 1. Jody Adams was another one of the Tennessee players that helped seal Stanford's fate. With the victory, Pat Summitt was back to the final to face Virginia, and 2 gallant teams embraced. In the championship game, Virginia took the early lead. Their talented backcourt aces, Tammy Reese and Dawn Staley, led the way. Tennessee didn't stay down long. Its rebounding power and tenacity inside got them back in the game. This Deidre Charles follow ties it at 24. This was a close, hard-fought game from start to finish, but Tennessee needed the heroics of Dina Head to keep their title hopes alive. Head scored 5 points in the last minute and a half to send the game into overtime. And the overtime belonged to Tennessee. It didn't matter that Jody Adams missed the last free throw. The Lady Volunteers won 70-67 and took their 3rd championship in the last 5 years. Nobody was more satisfied than Pat Summitt.
This one is sweet because of this team and their attitude and their togetherness, and because of what happened a year ago and how they handle the adversity and the challenge. I told them 3 weeks ago I would love them whether they made it here or not, but just play with their hearts and play with their heads, and we would be here.
Division II and III also crowned champions in this 10th anniversary year of NCAA women's basketball competition. But there's more to March Madness than basketball. We'll bring you other sports in a moment.
Siberian Huskies won't do. Green Bay watch, they're out on the tundra. They're loads of thunder. They've got lots of blankets. There'll be no frostbite tonight.
Not everything can be as good as the original.
I wish I lived in Wisconsin.
But Diet Dr. Pepper is. It tastes more like regular Dr. Pepper.
If we watched only basketball, we might forget that March is a winter month. In fact, almost every winter sport is contested indoors. But there is one sport for the lovers of the great outdoors. In skiing, they go up the mountain just to see who can come down the fastest, without falling, of course. This year's men's and women's combined meet took place in Utah's beautiful Wasatch Range. The winner was a Rocky Mountain neighbor, the University of Colorado, pictured here, with Vermont second and host Utah third. Penn State hosted men's and women's fencing at the foot of Mount Nittany and also won the team title over Columbia and Notre Dame. In Division I indoor track, Sonia O'Sullivan of Villanova, winner of the cross country in the fall, won the 5,000 meters, but faded in the mile. The race went down to the wire where Jennifer Langto of Boston University on the inside bested Stephanie Best of Cornell in a photo finish. But it was not close for Micelle Malone of Arizona State, the meet's outstanding individual performer. Her only real competition in the 400 meters was the American record. She beat it with a time of 51:05. Later, Malone anchored ASU's 1,600-meter relay team, which also set an American record. Carlette Guidry of Texas swept the 55 and 200-meter dashes for the second straight year. Here she wins the 55 with a fast finish. However, Louisiana State piled up points with second and third by Dahlia Duhaney and Esther Jones. And an individual title when Mary Cobb in lane 3 won the 55-meter hurdles. Cobb and friends led LSU to the team title over Texas and Villanova. The biggest attraction in the men's division was Raghib Ismail of Notre Dame. The Rocket, famous for his blazing speed on the gridiron, had speed left to burn on the track. Here, though, he finished second to Augustin Alobia of Washington State in the 55 final. To Alobia, Ismail is a hero, and like his hero, he also plays football. It's hard to imagine anyone in football faster than the Rocket, but Alobia is. In the records department, Istvan Bagula of George Mason set a collegiate record in winning the pole vault at 19 feet 3/4 of an inch. Ruben Reyna of Arkansas set a meet record of 750 flat in the 3,000 meters. In defending the championship he won last year, Reyna paced Arkansas to its 8th straight team title this year over Georgetown and Washington State. In Division I wrestling, the University of Iowa is the keeper of a proud tradition. From 1978 through 86, Iowa won 9 straight titles, but they have not won since. Led by the Brands twins, Iowa put 6 wrestlers into the final round and came away with 2 individual titles. In the 134-pound final, Tom Brands, the defending champion in black, came away with a hard-fought 5-3 victory over Alan Freed of Oklahoma State, which finished second to Iowa in the team standings. Coach Dan Gable applauded Brands' victory. However, Tom's brother Terry lost his bid for a title. Iowa's other individual champion, Mark Ryland, threw Kevin Randleman hard to the mat, and after a struggle, finally pinned him with 1 second left on the clock. Ryland, the 167-pound champion, was one happy wrestler. For a moment, it looked as though he wanted to pin assistant coach Jim Zaleski.
It felt real good. Doing it in front of, our home crowd, it really feels good. It feels good having 8,000 fans standing up cheering for you.
Jeff Prescott of Penn State in blue won the 118-pound championship. He also was judged the tournament's outstanding wrestler. In the finals, he zapped Iowa's Chad Zapatil 14-zip. Prescott was totally dominant and turned Zapatil virtually at will. Prescott's victory led the Nittany Lions to a 3rd-place finish in the team competition. A few more champions. When we come back, we're going to lead you to water in both liquid and solid states. Yes, it's still March Madness.